What's going on, people? It is I, Victor Vinciant, with another episode of
E major.
Beyond the Algorithm. And I'm joined today by my counterpart, the lovely Queen Smoke. Hey, welcome
Thank you for
back.
having me. Thank you. I'm happy to be here once again.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, I am glad because you always stay ready. So,
I try my best. This is my passion, so I just want to come with everything that I have. And it's betterment for our whole community, you know what I mean? But it's also not overlooking the role in which we play as Black women in our society,
mhm. So
especially with today's topic.
yeah, I'm about to ask right here. So, what's the inspiration for this particular topic? And take us down the rabbit hole of where you're going to take us. Kind of give us a little bit of a preview. Because again, I'm just here to facilitate because can't nobody talk to women like women talk to women.
Right,
So
facts.
and so I don't want to. I'm here to facilitate. You know what I'm saying?
So for me, every time we hear Black on Black crime, everybody assumes it's Black man versus Black man. Everybody's assumption is that it's the gang wars. You know what I mean? We never take a pause or a break on how our sisters contribute to this Black on Black crime, woman on woman crime, Black woman on Black woman crime. Excuse me. So today I just want to take a little dive, not only about the feuding, but I want to talk about and hit on the reasons why. Talking about our historical and our systematic pressures, poverty, racism, and lack of resources that create stressful environments, but also how we can't hold on to that and always make that as our excuse. It's a lot of personal relationships and betrayal. Many violent acts, they stem from the intimate betrayals of cheating, broken friendships, jealousy, or feeling disrespected, just feeling disrespected. Even though feelings aren't facts, you feel it, you want to act out on it. A lot of our sisters tend to do that with their children, with other women, and especially with their men in the household. Often it's not the situation, but it's the unresolved emotional baggage that causes the snap. And mental health and emotional regulation, Black women face higher rates of depression and anxiety, but have lower access to culturally competent mental health care. Like we always say, Black men, the police to Black men is just as dangerous as the healthcare field to Black women.
Yeah.
Anger as a coping mechanism for pain, feeling unheard and feeling unseen. And this is all things that stem from childhood. Also, the cultural messaging and the media influence. So the reality TV culture, glorifying fighting and conflict, lack of positive conflict resolutions, examples in the media, consumed by Black women and young Black women. And then also the importance of healing and community support. Real community support, accountability, a community that's going to hold you to a higher standard, not keep you sinking and swimming in the shit that you keep creating. Investing in emotional intelligence and therapy and safe spaces and coaching. And then holding one another accountable with love rather than violence. That's why I wanted to do Sisters Who Snap today.
Okay. So I want to, what we normally do, we get a video up and what I'm
Right.
saying, we start a conversation. So I want to start with this one right here.
Okay.
Men are so fucking dangerous and so fucking violent and so not in control of their fucking emotions. Why the fuck is my sister unalived at the hands of a fucking female who don't know how to regulate her fucking emotions? This is making me despise Black women. Yesterday, which is Friday morning, my friend, my sister, my homegirl was at a karaoke bar in Hawthorne, California. She's 38 years old. Her birthday's next month. She got into it with some bitch over God knows what. I think she used to fuck with the bitch, whatever the fucking shit may be. They got into a fight, and Amber goes to her car, and you fucking shoot her 3 times. Once in the head, once in the chest, and once in the stomach.
Breaking news in Hawthorne, a busy intersection shut down for an investigation into a deadly shooting. A woman during an argument outside of a bar. KTLA's Omar Lewis, live at the scene with the latest for us. Omar, good morning.
Hi, Frank. We can tell you an active homicide investigation is taking place right behind us at this intersection of 116th Street and Inglewood. Here this morning, LA County Sheriff's detectives are actively trying to figure out how this woman was shot right here in a parking lot next to a sports bar. You can see the crime scene tape up, and that tent is where that woman was shot out here earlier today. This all unfolding around 2 o'clock this morning. We can take you to the video and tell you that's when Hawthorne police responded to reports of gunfire near a popular sports bar here on Inglewood Avenue. When officers arrived, they found that woman suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Despite efforts to save her, she was pronounced dead here at the scene. Witnesses say the violence erupted during a gathering at a nearby sports bar. According to those who were there, a vehicle pulled up unrelated to the party. That's when someone got out, approached a car in the parking lot, and a heated argument broke out between two people. One was allegedly dragged from the car, then shot at least 3 times out here. No word on any arrests at this point, but as you can see back out here live on the scene, detectives are gathering evidence, talking to witnesses, and trying to figure out exactly what happened and what led to this shooting that unfolded out here in Hawthorne. If you have any information, you're asked to pick up the phone and contact the LA County Sheriff's Department. They are taking the lead in this investigation.
And y'all want to sit on this internet and talk about men are violent. Men are the violent ones. Men are the one that we should be scared of and protect ourselves from. You girls don't be girls. That's some weird ass shit. You took her life from her 6 kids over some fucking argument, and now the bitch is going around apologizing, talking about she didn't mean to do it. I'm so depleted and defeated. I really don't even want to talk about this shit, but I'm clearly advocating for something for a reason. Even before this shit happened, I've been advocating what I've been advocating for because I live this shit. Women are fucking evil, bro. Y'all hate for people, make y'all want to take people's lives and hurt other people. You don't know who you hurt by taking somebody's life because you're fucking upset. And it's not fair. That's not fair, and I don't care if anybody gives a fuck about my tears or not. Fuck you. Leave me the fuck alone. I grieve different. But I'm going to advocate because my friend lost her life at the hands of a fucking unhinged, emotional black bitch. Fuck y'all. Y'all are weird. I'm protecting black women like her and myself. What are y'all on? What are y'all on? Y'all be deflecting and shit, and this shit is real life for me. Real life for me. Real life for me. That's why I come on here so passionate and so fucking aggressive, but y'all just don't fucking get it. Y'all will never get it, and people don't understand it until it's them, and they going through it. It's sad. Y'all are sad. Y'all are sad. Long live Amber Nicole LaFlora. Do you hear me?
Well,
And that's close to me. Hawthorne's about an hour away, an hour and a half at the most. LA County. Shout out to Dontre, one of our mutual friends, because he posted something the other day. He was like, LA got them thugs, them women. He was talking about women. Chicago got them thugs. New York got them thugs. And I just had to laugh because it's the truth. You know, born and raised in Southern California, it's almost like, you know how California is known for all of the movies by John Singleton, the gang culture. That's where everybody get they romanticize gang culture in California from all of our movies, you know? Right. In 2025, it's almost like the women are gangs, you know? And it's not like they represent, but it's like back in the 90s or the early 2000s when a brother stepped on another brother's shoe and it was problems. That's how it is with Sistas. You look at her a certain way, because of her own insecurities and the things that she's been through, she think it's a problem. You could think, dang, I like that dress. I want to ask her where she got it from. Bitch, you know, what's up? The way in which they speak, the way in which they carry themselves, the way this woman I just spoke, it's something about a cult being bred and raised in Southern California. You don't believe the hype. You know what I mean? You ask a lot of questions before you decide what's going on, because the community and the society in which we come from, the women sell dope too. You know, the women gangbang too. The women commit crimes too. The women breed their children to be dysfunctional, to be ratchet, to subscribe to this certain aesthetic in the hood. That's okay. That's Section 8 housing, and there's nothing wrong with the assistance. But it's almost like the personality that comes with it. You know what I mean? To be the most derogatory, to be the most aggressive, to be the most mean. And this is not from the men. I'm talking about the women, period. You know what I mean? So when we talk about this situation, The bullying starts in elementary. I've been there. The bullying starts in elementary. They want to check you, but it's like these young children that are being raised by primarily single black women. Their mom is already overwhelmed. If she, like I always say, whether she collecting a check or really out there grinding, already overwhelmed, having to provide for all these mouths, not only financially, mentally, emotionally, socially, psychologically, spiritually. What else do mama got for herself when she's by herself? You know?
Yeah.
And add on the fact that maybe this is a male centered mama, that every 15 minutes it's another man in her house. All these things are creating a culture of children that don't care, and especially a culture of young women that are unhinged with their own children, unhinged with their men in their life. And when they see a reflection, another young black woman, it's almost like it's a explosion waiting to happen with the interaction that they have.
It's a severe competition from all things that I can see on the outside looking in, because
Absolutely.
it's so much aggression piled up into communicating with women, that for men, communicating with women that are not their mothers or not related to them in some kind of way, that there's always some kind of immediate apprehension, and we get a lot of the projection from the
Right.
women as though we're like the men in their families of that they've already experienced to some degree. And then like the male centered women, they create a whole different layer of chaos amongst women themselves too. And that's what the next video is coming up to be right here.
I'm not trying to say that men can't be terrible ass people, right? But most of my trauma in life has come from women, okay? Women. And here's the thing, I feel like a lot of the damage that comes from women, it's emotional and it's mental. It's the internal damage more so than the physical. Although it is some women out there that's abusive physically. The men in my family have been very wise, very patient, very kind. My dad, my stepdad, my uncles, like these are all like really pretty, like solid ass people. But the women though, I ain't gonna say women in my family, I'm gonna make it very specific. From the two main women in my family, which would be my mom and my aunt, the minute I disappointed them, the minute I didn't let them do what they wanted for me, for my life, baby, when I tell you, them folks was like vicious. I'm talking about, baby, vicious. And here's the thing, you never really have proof of what women do. Women are so cunning, so underhanded with the way that they will fuck you over, that you will never have proof. You will never be able to tell people. You can't even really express it. Like if you're dealing with gaslighting or you're dealing with like bullying, I also dealt with bullying in high school. Again, women. It's always been women. I don't think, I'm not one to say most black women are like this. I really don't think that. I think that was a cycle that I was in due to my own programming. But I do feel like I'm not in that cycle anymore. For the record, I don't feel like that anymore. But this is just very recent. It just got out of my system. But here's the thing. A woman can pretend to love you and hate your ass. Men, if they don't really... Men, they say men will keep you around and suck the blood out of you too. But here's the thing. They a lot more obvious though. Like even if you're dealing with a narcissist, you will see that they don't fully fuck with you. Women, I feel like a woman will like rock you to sleep after they've given you poison type shit. Like women are crazy as fuck, man. Listen, it's a whole different ball game dealing with female opposition. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I don't want to be one of those people that's like, I would rather have male friends, but at the same time, I low-key think I would be I would have a better social life if I was just more so, and I don't even know if men can actually be friends with women, but just masculine women in general. I think masculine women are more so like logical. Also, you have to deal with women that love themselves. Like really like themselves. And I'm not saying you got to be like no insecurities and nothing like that, because we all got insecurities, but they have to genuinely at their core like themselves. And there's not a lot of women in this world that like themselves. Like once you strip away all the shit, because a lot of them be pretty as fuck and mean as fuck. like, because they don't like themselves. So when they come across somebody that actually is content with life and very light in their vibe, they just kind of like want to fuck it up. And it's very subconscious. Like, it's weird. It's so weird. Women can be so weird. Just be like, I don't know. And I don't want to say they all like that. I just want to say, I get where y'all be coming from online, where y'all be talking like men are just the epitome of evil, but I have experienced the complete opposite, where women have been the fucking devil in my life. Specifically,
Yes!
one main woman, if you know, you know. And everything else has just been a reflection of her devilish ass. So, you know, I can only imagine what some of y'all done went through, but I just wanted to share that. It ain't always men. It has never been men for me.
Hey, they doing all your work for you, right?
All I gotta say is, I feel like my grandma right now because she said two things that I definitely deal with. She said that a woman will feed you poison and rock you to sleep, and then she said that in her personal life, you know, the women are more volatile than the men, and that's why I think that me and so many Black women, I'm not gonna say we don't get along, but they are hesitant in believing what I say. But for me personally, a person that grew up in a 2-parent household, a person that had grandfathers and uncles and cousins, I've seen the way that women spin the narrative all my life. You know, I have an incredible mother. Shout out to you, mommy. Always kind, just treated my dad with the utmost respect. Ran our household in a way that it forced me to be soft. It forced me to be me. I didn't have to be hard. I didn't have to be tough. You know, dad, that's different. You got to be tough. Your dad wants you to be tough as a young girl, knowing how to protect yourself. But I'm talking about the person that I had to emulate was a very fair, friendly, kind, and compassionate woman. You know. However, in my same family, there were mothers that weren't so fair, kind, and compassionate. They refer to their daughters out of their names, want to put hands on their daughters, male-centered. I dealt with a lot of that. So me growing up and living my life, my experience is not the similar experience or not the brainwashed and programmed experience that a lot of Black girls and Black women have. I'm very fair, you know, and most of the time, like you always say, men, especially Black men, they're going to be held accountable because then bars is always there. They'll be held accountable in child support. If they don't pay it, their license can be taken. They can go to jail. They're going to be held accountable. But a lot of women, and that's why I said sometimes it don't matter if you had a dad. What kind of father did you have? Because if a beta raised you, it's better off not having a dad at all. You know what I mean? But if you had a dad that never checked you, I promise you, I used to, when I was a little girl, I used to be like, as soon as I'm big enough, me and my dad, we going toe to toe. You know, that's all I felt. Like, I just felt like my dad was just, at times, I felt like my father didn't like me, you know? And it was just all, like I said, your feelings aren't facts. It was all emotional. Dang, my daddy don't let me do this. He don't let me talk to these people. He don't let me go here. He just don't want me to have a good life. Like, he don't want me to have no fun. But it's my father's provision, my father's protection that got me through and that made me have a pretty decent life, a pretty good life. When I look back on it, I can say thank you. I talk to my daddy all the time. Thank you. My mother and father get their flowers, but especially my father, because my dad was 18. We were only 18 years apart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
His mind, like now that I'm a grown woman, his mind, I'm just like very, very advanced for such a young man, you know? Yeah. Always knowing the taking the precautions and knowing what's cautionary, knowing how to protect his children. Just, it's something that I really am thankful for, because I understand that if I didn't have that in my life, I don't know what kind of person and what kind of personality my mother would have, you know? Without the help, I don't know. I don't think I would have the same experience because I wouldn't have the same mom. I know that.
Right.
So I always thank my parents, but again, we have to understand that we're dealing with, everybody sees anger first. The first emotion, anger is a secondary emotion, you know? Mm-hmm. But the first emotion is sadness. It's always some type of hurt. And that is deep rooted from, it's not the first heartbreak. It's not that. This is from the home. You can't say you have daddy issues if your daddy hasn't been in the house, you know? It's an absent parent. You have issues with an absent parent, but you can't say you have daddy issues when he doesn't live with you and when you don't know your daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, You
don't know this man. You never saw this man. You don't have a relationship with him. You can't have daddy issues, my love. This is mother issues. You may have a like I said, a void and an absence from your father not being there, but he can't contribute to something that he wasn't a part of to begin with. He can't contribute to that. Women.
Come on.
You know, and that's just, it's not about this whole thing is not about bashing any black woman, but it's to unpack your pain and find solutions for it.
There's no accountability and blame.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell men all the time, you can't lead and blame at the same time. Because you're supposed to be solving the problem and unpacking it, getting down to the source of it, and figuring out what the conflict is. You got to play process of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, your process will eliminate you eventually.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, and I talk about the man in uniform all the time.
Mm-hmm.
These conflicts between women amount to women not even respecting men, because women love saying, "Who gonna check me?" You know,
absolutely.
And then we have conversations like this.
No one can hold black women accountable. Black women, unfortunately, we have adopted this mentality that I can do whatever I want to do and can't nobody tell me anything. And this is why we are where we're at. We live in a very selfish, egotistical society now that nobody cares. If you're a black woman and hold black women accountable, you have to be ready to like fight, because it's going to come with a lot. I'm always thinking about how young girls are being influenced. So what us grown women are doing, it's influencing these girls to do these out of control, I don't care attitudes. They have the most disgusting attitudes, and you can't even check them because they have their moms who say, I could do whatever I want. So can't no one hold us accountable. Not a black man. Your white boss probably, that's probably the only one who can tell us what to do because he pay us. A gay man can tell us what to do. If it's a black woman or a black man, a straight black man, we don't want to hear it.
Absolute facts. She's not lying.
I mean, and all of that is on one side. That's why you've heard me say repeatedly, if you take men out of all of women's problems, women have major issues by themselves. They don't. Men do not have to do anything for women to not like each other. Even if you took away the competition for a man away,
right?
Women will find something else to not like each other. So, and
just something I wanted to add, that when it comes to a lot of black mothers, they get upset, especially with their daughters and their attitude, that funky, stanky ass attitude. And everybody know what I'm talking about. When they be like, "Oh, she's smelling herself." No, she not. She you. She you. The thing is, a little girl, they're so innocent. I love children. That's like my target, you know, because you can heal the hearts of children better than you can broken men, you know. And mothers get so mad, and like that's when they want to call the dads, even their sons. When y'all talking about sassy, y'all create these sassy boys. All they deal with is your attitude, your bitching, your nagging all day. What do you think he gonna do? How do you think he's gonna absorb all that energy and become that? That's why he chose the loudest, most ratchet, most disrespectful female, because that's who you are. He chose a mama, you know. And that's why so many black men, I'm proud of y'all doing the work. You know, these are men coming from single mother homes that want to stop that hurt and stop that cycle. You know what I mean? They come from a home where their mom was unhinged and their mother was undisciplined. And that sucks because the world already want our black children, especially this country. They already want them to stray away from everything right. And y'all are doing them a disservice because of who you are. Then when the mirror is put up to your face, you want to say, I don't know. Oh, I'm doing the best I can. I don't know where she got that from. I don't know where he got that from. They are your children. Yep. They're their mother's children. And if they don't have no father, my dear, my love, y'all love to put them little, you know what I mean? Y'all, my love, if they don't have their father, it's all on you. Simple.
Yep.
Y'all math, and y'all don't want to add it up. That's the thing.
For real. They don't want to count that part up. And then how that manifests in relationships, that's where it gets tested. And it looks like this.
Ari Richardson was recently arrested for alleged domestic violence against her current boyfriend and fellow track star, Christian Coleman. They were at the airport and allegedly got into an argument, and then after they got into the argument, she started pushing him. She ended up pushing him into a wall and then took her headphones that she was wearing and hit him upside the head with it. She was then arrested and booked and then released the next day. Authorities asked Christian if he wanted to press charges against Sha'Carri, and he responded and said no. And his reasons for saying no is because he did not want to be labeled a victim. It just goes to show how a lot of women can get away with domestic abuse, because a lot of the times the guy will not press charges because of that reason. They don't want to be labeled a victim. People should always be held accountable for domestic abuse. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. Once you put your hands on someone, you should be held accountable and deal with the consequences. With that being said, he needs to get away from her as fast as possible, because if she's comfortable doing it once, she's more than likely going to do it again. And on top of that, you did not hold her accountable for her actions.
You know, in our community, it's like every black woman got with a messed up black man, a bum, my baby daddy this, my baby daddy that. And then, you know, he forced them to be masculine. He forced them to do, he was very abusive. This is the story that I hear 9 times out of 10. He's the problem. He, you know. But it's like the behaviors in which you guys, you never say what you've done. We know that a lot of black women are antagonists, because just like they say the hands, a black man's hands can harm, our mouths harm, our mouths cut, our mouths castrate and belittle and emasculate. You know what I mean? What do you expect to happen? Y'all love to say that y'all gonna go in the jungle, and I choose the bear. You choose the bear, but you're not gonna go in that jungle poking that bear. You're not gonna be in that forest in the mountains poking that bear though. Nope. But you poke a man all day, and then when you get the reaction that you're asking for, you want to call the police or call your people. You know what I mean? So many black men have had hands put on them, but they feel the same way. It's embarrassing. But when he knock you, you know, so you can remember that you're a woman. When he knock you, then you want to cry and scream, "Whoop! I'm a narcissist." You do it to yourself. Start pressing charges on these hoes. I'm just gonna let you know. Let them go to jail. Let them have. Come on. You can't be afraid of it. If you got a part of the problem is that a lot of brothers don't assist in helping. You gotta assist. I don't care how much you love her. Because if it was you, she wouldn't mind you having no stand on your record. Wouldn't think twice about it.
Man, look, the other dichotomy to the way that behavior gets manifested comes from the environment that they come from and how they're raised. Absolutely. What people don't know about Sha'Carri is that she was raised by her grandmother and her aunt. So that should tell you everything you need to know if you're familiar with households that have that type of behavior. And then her boyfriend comes from a two-parent home, from what I read, and however the situation is, he got probably a dominant mom or something like that,
right?
Or and I'll just say that because I don't know anything about the father, you know.
Right.
But what I saw, she was really educated, and that usually comes with a certain type of program. And those men are going to be susceptible to being dominated by that type of woman, like that behavior. You know what I'm saying? And so they're going to always have a different type of reverence and submission to a woman's attitude, so to speak. So let me go to the comments real quick. Shout out to my man Chris from across the table. You know, so I think things like this used to happen a lot. It's just now we have cell phones and social media platforms to show everything. Yep. Absolutely. And to his point, that's why it's our duty to have the right discussion about it.
Absolutely.
Because whereas it used to happen before, there's never been a negative stigma around this conversation for a man to be abused or considered to be abused. They don't ever think about when the aftermath of after a man snaps and like he didn't have to do it like that. Well, you don't know what was taking place that actually pushed him there. I told somebody the other day, we never talk about why Hitler snapped.
Absolutely.
Nobody that already had that conversation yet. You know what I'm saying? And just like that, Chris, like you said, we've been taught to just take it. We must unlearn that. Absolutely. Like, fellas, the only way they're going to learn is if you call the police and if you sue them. You know what I'm saying? It's especially for libel and slander online. They love telling you, they love slandering your sexuality, but they love the same men that they use as a racial or sexual slur against you.
Right.
They'll call you gay, but then they'll say, well, you know, I got a gay best friend. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, they can't have it both ways no more. I'm telling you, because if you don't assert yourself, they're gonna make it okay. The older they get, and the older they get, the more potent that they become, and the more influence they're gonna have on the young. So and that's why we have this discussion. So down the line, where we going next? What else you got? I know you got a lot. You got some notes. I'm just here
Yeah.
to listen. So let's go on this journey.
Yeah. Do you have the PowerPoint?
Let me see. I didn't get a chance. I knew it was something I forgot to load, but well, in the meantime, while I find this PowerPoint,
Yeah. In the meantime, I made a PowerPoint because I need y'all to follow me for real.
yeah. Tell them what a PowerPoint and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight, this internalized pain that we have, this jealousy, this betrayal, these mental health struggles as root causes. The thing is, from the inside of your mother's womb, the connection is formed, and depending on how your mother was handled by your father, how your mother took care of herself, how your mother showed up for you, if your mother was even connected and happy with the fact that she had a child. That's where the relationship kind of severs between a lot of Black children and their mothers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If your mother was on substances, if your mother even had a healthy pregnancy, if you came prematurely, if you were on time, all these things play a role and play a factor into your personality and how everything the mother feels, the infant will feel. You know what I mean? So a lot of mothers don't even have that attachment from birth with their child. A lot of Black mothers don't understand, even without the father, you are the greatest influence. Even with the father, you're the primarily, initially, in the beginning, you're the greatest influence of your child. The way in which you talk, the way in which you act, the way in which you portray yourself, these things all matter to your child. And a lot of women want to put that blame on a man. Well, he's not here. Well, he's not here. I understand that. It's not right. It's not fair. But at the end of the day, you are here. So when you choose your body, your choice, it's also your responsibility and your consequence. And it's going to be up to you to do the twice the job if you choose to have a child with somebody that don't want to be a part of their life. So you have to also take those things into consideration. And your sex should not be that easy anyways, where this decision is so hard. You have to go back to vet, and you have to go back. When I talk about the rabbit hole, we talk about generations and generations of a root that you have to pull, a tree that you have to pull by the root, because it's by the root. You can't cut no leaves off. You can't cut no branches off. You can't just chop the tree in half. We talking about dig it from the root, from the ground, to change some of these behaviors that you've seen. Because there's grandmothers that attend church all day, every day, but they're still some of the messiest women in the family, the matriarchs. And I'll say that again, there's grandmothers that attend church often, serving God often, but they're some of the messiest people in the family. And you could tell the reason I say that, look at their bloodline. Matriarchs, she's supposed to go around when Big Mama gone. Big Mama been alive and she's healthy and well. And her family is so messed up, the grandkids don't even respect their grandmothers anymore. And this is really disheartening and unfortunate, because if ain't nobody listening to nobody, you listening to your granny. And I'll say that again, if you don't listen to nobody, you would listen to your grandmother. Your grandmother always had the ability to talk some sense into your ass. Now it's like, what Kendrick say? I cut my granny off if she don't see it how I see it. That's how they feel.
Yeah.
That's how they feel. If grandma don't make you feel away or don't coddle that behavior, you know what I mean? Grandma has no wisdom, and no honor. They don't honor grandma no more. But they weren't taught. So the same way you want to dishonor fathers and dishonor the men and patriarchy is the same way that you guys are becoming dishonored now. Nobody cares. When your children reach a certain age, you a bitch too. They go, now you what? I'm your mother. When your sons reach a certain age, they in your face too. What up, mama? Like, say something. Like, I've seen it. Personally, I've seen it online. Like I said, you guys will post so much content for the next 1,000 years. It's nothing to miss.
Look.
The children start intimidating their mamas. I've never in my life ever came my mama. I remember my nephew, he's 17 now, but when he's like 15, my mom had, and she said it like a game too, like, oh, your nephew tried to get in my face or something. He was like, it's a prank. Like, I heard the record scratch. Like, I just went to him very quickly, very quietly. We had a conversation. He was reading my face because I'm the goofy auntie. I'm the fun auntie. I don't really get too upset like that, He was reading my face, and like his face, I seen that he was like surprised that I would come at him like that. But I said, she's the matriarch of our family. We don't play. We don't prank. Not my mama, maybe yours. We don't play with mine, He understood. He knew it. He knew it. Like, instant correction. Okay, auntie, you're right. I'll never do it again, It's been 2 years. We ain't had no problems, but nobody's checking or correcting because nobody's checked or correct. Nobody can get, if your mother is above correction, the children gonna be above correction. And these kind of mothers, they don't want to collaborate with teachers. Their child is always right. Because like I said, to correct my child is to correct myself, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
My child coming here yelling and screaming and disrespecting and cussing and wanting to fight the teacher. That's what I do all day in my household. So how can I correct this behavior when we gonna go home to it? And I'm initiating the behavior, you know? So
When
it's
it's wrong.
always just negativity, embarrassment, abuse that they're teaching their children.
Man, you know, I said when they bring up the patriarchy, the irony of it is that if you look at it from the lens of projection, because most times on social media, women are projecting.
Right.
The conversation they have about the patriarchy and how they envision it is really the way that women treat each other.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
they punish each other the way that they believe men would punish women if it was truly a patriarchy, without even understanding how a patriarchy is set up. In a real patriarchy, women would be subject to dire draconian laws, getting stoned to death, that type of stuff. You couldn't even disagree with a man. You can't even hold conversation with a man. You couldn't even look at a man. You would have no voting privilege. There would be no feminism.
Absolutely.
If family court, if in a patriarchy existed, women wouldn't even get custody of the kids.
Absolutely.
If they got granted a divorce. You know what I'm saying? So this myth of patriarchy and how black men play into that myth is the same type of conversation that does not produce a solution where women are actually going to be right, and they act like they don't have sons. And now we're starting to see a separation between the women that have sons that want to fix it and the women that just have daughters.
Right. Absolutely.
They don't have the same concerns.
Absolutely.
But these children are going to meet each other and interact with each other at some point, and it's inevitable, you know. And so I wanted to bring that up, and I want to also highlight another take from Chris. Shout out to Chris again. As a former employee of the family court business, I wholeheartedly agree with her. So yeah, that's somebody that's worked from the inside out, that sees the the itemized list of what behaviors led up to that particular moment, you know.
Right. Absolutely.
Because by the time it goes to paperwork, that means it's a persistent level of behavior. It has to be documented. You know what I'm saying? It's not a one-time deal. This has been repeated behavior that's been observed and something had to be done administratively to deal with it. So that happens. And then we got one more. The only reason this is even happening is because of the restraint and the grace of men that they are complaining about. Why did I start running my show on Mondays when I have episodes? For those of you that's tuned in, make sure you go follow the YouTube page and go check out the Grace of Men series. I got like 3 episodes up there so far, and it is by the grace of men that women are allowed to even destroy each other.
Absolutely.
Because if men decided enough is enough, there's nothing women can do to stop it. That's why I know that socially we live in a matriarchy, because the chaos that women have with each other on just their side of the gender equation is a remnant of men not being in place and in position. It's come from too many single mothers reproducing with children of single mothers over and over again. Because it's not about just the men that have been removed from the equation. It's about women not ever coming from bloodlines where men have been the head of the household.
Right.
So this was happening long before COINTELPRO, before welfare, before segregation. Yeah, we might have been married at an 80% rate and all of that stuff, but we're talking about behavior-wise, because I'll give you that women will say, well, the men were different back then and women were oppressed. Okay, I'll give you that. But we're still acting like men and women haven't traditionally reproduce with each other in shotgun weddings,
Right. Come on now.
interactions, and all of this stuff. And
Absolutely.
you know you got some people with some obscure behavior, some pedophilic behavior in your families too, some sexual predators and all of that stuff. And a lot of them are women, and they're not being discussed.
Right. Come
Because
on.
when it's highly promiscuous behavior that produces these types of families and outcomes happens, it happens far more in the single mother home than it does in the two-parent home. And I know what you want to say. We always got to default to single mother versus two-parent. The single fathers raise better children than the single mothers.
Absolutely.
So we can pick the single mother versus single father, and the outcomes of the single fathers are the same, if not better, or in comparison to the two-parent household, which shows that the women raising children without men around don't produce a better product of a child in terms of behavior. And if you want all the praise when it goes right, then you take all the criticism when it goes bad. That is your responsibility. Don't bring up the absent father, just like you brought up earlier. You got mommy issues. You can't blame the dad. You might as well be blaming the tooth fairy, Santa Claus, and goddamn.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I stand on that.
I stand with you because it's the truth. The absolute truth.
Man, let's get to your PowerPoint and we're gonna walk this down this. I know you can't wait for this right here. You love
I'm excited.
I can tell, right?
One thing that I love, a side note, I'm a true crime junkie. It's like a family ritual. My mom, she don't watch it no more, but like my dad, me and my sisters, we just it's something that we bonded on our whole life, from America's Most Wanted to like the thing that I have been obsessed with lately, like for the past 5 or 6 years, is actually black crimes, and those are more so on YouTube, smaller platforms that showcases these things, but there's so much stuff going on, and I like to be on top of it, just in the know,
Amen.
So a couple of these cases that we're gonna go over is just I wanted to touch on different aspects of, I guess, the black woman psyche, and we're just gonna discuss on how the things that make us snap when it's time, like when it's enough is enough. And we ain't talking about Taraji Straw. I'm talking about Snap. That's why it's like 30 seasons of the show. 34, I think they're only 34th season of Snap. So when people always say, black men kill their women at such a higher rate. Okay, but this show has been out for 20 some years, since I was a little girl. They on their 34th season.
Look,
people snapping.
And look, before we get to the slide flipping, I like to say that too. When the minute that you call out something that they do, they deflect in a way that they wouldn't even allow their children to deflect.
Absolutely.
Just like, well, men do this. If you took your kids to school and you told them these are the 3 things that I want you to pay attention to today, and if you are uncertain, call me. Use your phone and call me before you make a decision. You leave, you drop your kids off, and then a couple hours later, the school calls you and says your kid did one of the things you told them to call you for before, they got there. You pick your kid up and you ask them to say, hey, why did you do the very opposite of what I told you not to? Well, and your kid looks at you dead in your eye and says, you didn't say nothing to the other kids that did the same thing.
Come on now.
How you gonna respond to that?
Come on now. They getting their ass whooped. Let's be clear.
They getting their ass whooped.
Let's be clear.
But we have the lowest standard of accountability for black women, and we allow them to do that. And then they say, well, what about the white women? What about the Latina women? What about the Asian women? Like, they're not in the community. We talking about you and your behavior.
Absolutely. I don't live around them. I don't live around them.
I don't live around them. You know what I'm saying?
Around you. Absolutely.
So I just wanted to say that before we get started. Let me go ahead. Let me know. Just tell me when.
Yes, you can go. Yes, we can get started. So first things first, I wanted to, bring up a viral sensationalized case of Shanquella Robinson. This was in 2022. Shanquella, she was 25 years old, a black woman killed while on vacation with her friends. It's a viral video that's still out there, showed one black woman brutally beating this girl while all the others watched, all her other friends. They lied. They claimed that she was poisoned by alcohol, but the autopsy showed that she had neck and spinal injuries. Her mother said her baby's neck was broken. I think it was pretty much they kind of decapitated her daughter.
Yeah.
The group dynamic. This is about jealousy and fake friends. The group dynamics of how is hidden animosity, how it can boil over from an outfit to a hairstyle to a body type to a skin complexion to a hair texture. These are the minuscule, the little, the small, the tiny things that Black women bicker about. I'm talking about on the micro scale. We're not gonna get to the macro. Oh, you slept with my man, and no, the smallest scale is that I'm your friend under false pretenses because I really want to assume you. I want to be you. You know what I mean? It's a lot of single Black females. If you don't know that movie, they actually got one single Black female on Lifetime for real. But it stems from single white female, a woman that was obsessed with another woman. So much so she wanted to be her, wanted to assume her. That's why you see all these Black women looking alike, hair hats on, hair helmets on, lashes, fashion over everybody. The aesthetic looks the same. You know what I mean? And God forbid you don't want to put no weave in your hair, wear makeup every day, or put no lashes on, or dress up like sweating. It's 100 degrees where I live, so it ain't happening. But God forbid the average woman that don't want to do that, you can't get in. You can't get in. You can't get in this club because you look different. You're weird. You know what I mean? Me being comfortable and nothing with nothing in my hair, me being comfortable on camera like this, to a lot of Black women, they can never. And I'm being real. A lot of Black sisters could never and would never. I read a comment on Facebook. I wish I would have screenshotted it. I read a comment on Facebook the other day. It was a Black sister talking about natural hair. Like we got to start tuning into our natural hair. We can't keep protecting it. That can't be our, all these women, the workplace. And, they don't want us to wear our real hair. I've been working since I was 14 years old. I just turned 36 last month. I've never in my life been told to change my hair. And I've been a natural all my life. Nobody has never had, can you, that's a lawsuit. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know how it is in the South or in California. Absolutely not. Nobody ever told me to cover my hair, to change my hair ever in my life. So I don't know what that story is coming from. Also, it was a Black this comment kind of disturbed me because it was a Black woman. She said, y'all need to stop policing Black women's hair. My kids, my husband ain't never even seen my natural hair. And I was appalled. Your children and your husband never even seen their mother's
Like it was a flex.
Like it was a flex. I was proud because my people was on her head. Like, ma'am, this is a you problem. So how are your Black daughters? You go to her profile, she got 2 girls. And, hair all over the place. So now they're going to have a problem with their hair because you hate yours. They're going to learn how to hate theirs. You know what I mean? It's deeper than what we think. What are we protecting our hair from? Because why are you in a wig 11 out of 12 months? Unless you have real alopecia that you didn't cause yourself from tension, from the braids, from all the weaves, it's no excuse. Because you're going to pay $6,000 so much money for all this hair. But what's the hair products? Where's the nurturing? It starts within, first of all. It's just a touchy issue. So back to my point, when another sister is confident in her natural self, y'all have a problem with it. There is no sisterhood. The sisterhood only applies to the dysfunction. The sisterhood only applies to the toxicity. The sisterhood only applies to a certain aesthetic. If you don't subscribe to that, you're a pick-me and you're cast out. So when Shaquilla going on this trip, I think it was like 4 men and 3, or 4 women and 3 men, or either 5 women and 2 men, or 1 man. It was a couple men.
I think one of the women was also a man.
Oh, okay.
I think, and somebody asked, did this happen in Mexico? Yes, it happened in Mexico.
Yes, absolutely.
It was, November 22, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And I think that's another layer to it, because
right,
the level of whatever the sisterhood is brings the LGBT community element into that conversation too, where they think they're safe around men that present themselves as women, but if they're paying down the violence, this is something that goes into it. And I feel like that came up for sure, but we probably go back and probably try to confirm that. Maybe somebody in the audience can confirm it. Find out if that was an OG woman.
And back
to
the
one with the ovaries.
Shaquilla mom, crying. These people coming back to the country without her child, lying. her child's body. You left your friend. I was always taught as a friend, as a sister, as a cousin, as somebody coming with people, you leave with the same people you came with.
Yeah.
This is a building, let alone a country. Y'all came back without her.
Yeah, come on.
And the biggest question is, why didn't anyone stop it? We normalized culture of watching instead of protecting. They had their phone out though. And I seen that video once, never watched it again. Y'all was doing her so dirty. So dirty. Pummeling that girl. Brutally. Brutalizing that girl. Hey, Andrea. Brutalizing that girl.
Yep.
It's sickening. And it's like, for us to be feminine, nothing in you. Even like you said, if it's a a transgendered woman, you want, nobody had a heart. Fuck femininity. Nobody had a heart. Nobody had concern. Nobody had a care. Nobody gave a fuck. Excuse my language, but that's the truth. Nobody cared.
That's the truth.
You had a dead, but I seen a dead body like once, like a couple years ago. It was a man. He got hit. I was like, oh, appalled. Yeah, I've been to my share of funerals, but like dead just in the ground, no, never in my life. It was early in the morning, But I was appalled. So to see somebody lose their life in front of me, I don't think my spirit could handle it. I don't think it would happen. First of all, you don't know what happens. But I'm saying, if I could prevent it, if I could try.
Yeah.
I'll probably be the second dead person or the second injured person, because I'm not gonna let that happen on my watch. Especially to somebody I consider my sister. It's not even about friendships. I don't have friendships. I really have sisterhood. If you're my friend, you my sister. And I treat you like I treat my 3 blood sisters. I would never want no harm to come to you. So for us to pack up and you think, my running joke is like, oh, y'all go to Miami and come back not friends, but you go to Mexico and come back with one less friend. It's sickening and it's sad. And if this is the trajectory of where we're going to be, we don't have a future.
Nope.
Especially amongst women,
Yeah. From a vacation to a funeral is crazy.
You know what I mean? It's sad. It's crazy. It's mind-blowing, because how? How? And it's really sad that it's jealousy and fake friendships, Nobody stopped it. They encouraged it. They kept it going.
Yeah. Man, before we flip to the next slide, hey, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And to the people that's watching on YouTube, thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. I see it's 5 watching now, man. You know what I'm saying? So we need to make the count match who the people are watching. So let me know if you're ready for the next slide.
Yes, I'm ready. Okay, this is a little heavier. This is our victim is Shelly Turner. This case is from 1993. So Shelly, she was they compared her to the likes of Marion Jones, the runner. Yep. She was also class of 1993. So they were like competitors, Shelly was Olympic worthy, very talented at Philadelphia, track star, went to a great school, was trained by one of the best. And she was very, low income, single mother home, but kept fighting. Her mother, her father, they never attended a track meet, kept fighting. Okay, so she went missing on January of 1993. Mind you, this is the night before a major track race. Like, that's going to pretty much solidify her college, paying for college. It's a whole bunch of young Black girls on her team. Like they said, they're running for education. This is not just a sport. This is my life. This is going to pay for me to level up in life, So she went missing after visiting her boyfriend and taking a bus home. Her body was found about a month later. Her body was found in Fairmont Park, and she was shot multiple times. Before we go forward, I just want to say that her mom, Vivian King, she went on major news outlets, TV show. She accused the coach. Shelly's coach was white, a white man, teaching these inner city Black kids. She tried to make it also almost like a pedophile thing. Like, oh yeah, he was always on my daughter. They were super close, and so putting the light on him. And this man was very honest, very open. Police ruled him out very quickly. Then the mom, well, it was that boyfriend, he was not good news anyway. So the mom wanted to put it on the boyfriend. The boyfriend, very clean and easy. I had nothing to do with it. This man is like over 40 years old now, saying that I had to leave town. I quit my senior year in high school because I was the suspect, I was hurt. This is my first love, but I was the suspect. I quit school. I moved out of town because my reputation was ruined.
Life just ruined for him.
Ruined. If you can go forward so we can discover who the suspect was.
Let's see here. Boom.
Vivian King, Shelly's own mother, was a suspect. So Vivian King was also a track star. However, her house wasn't filled with anything. You know, she was good, but her daughter was incredible. You know,
Yeah.
her mother Vivian, she became a suspect after giving details only the killer would know, and also fell in a polygraph test. Like I said, her mother's downfall was basking in the light of playing victim, wanting to go on all, you know, get national attention, feeding off that attention. My baby's going, and I need my daughter home. She confessed that her and her daughter had an argument. Her daughter did come home one time. Her boyfriend did put her on the bus. As soon as she came home, her mother was drunk. Now, her mother, who you think you better than me? Her mother threatened to, she said, get dressed, let's go. I'm taking you to the police station. You ain't gonna live here no more, you know? Her daughter, 17, young girl, listening to mama. This is the winter time, you know? Her mother goes, they stop at a park. Her mom said, get out, fight me. Drunk mama, right? Drunk mother, fight me. She said that her daughter didn't want to fight, you know? So the mom really pretty much beating her daughter, beating her with the head of the gun. Her daughter was shot, excuse me, I don't think I told you guys. I believe it's either 5 or 8 times, twice in her head. Basically, murdered her daughter like a bitch off the street, like a stranger off the street in cold blood. Got 10 to 20 years only because the jury couldn't believe that a mother would kill her daughter. They believed that alcohol was the main factor in why Vivian took her daughter's life. Even though if you know what you know, if you better than that, if you're a critical thinker, you know alcohol ain't had shit to do with her taking her daughter's life. This was a hate from this child since probably she was born. The day that her daughter ran faster, the day that her daughter bought an extra medal, the day that her daughter bought an extra trophy, was when her mom already coerced herself, convinced herself in her mind that her daughter had to go. She couldn't make it to college. So how is it always like fear the black man when you living in a house with somebody that hates you, when you was in the belly in the womb of somebody that hated you before you got here?
That's crazy.
This woman took her baby's life, tried to set up so many people, and then only served, I think, 10 or 12 years. She didn't even do the 20. She served like 12 years. Living her life now, free. A jewelry. I don't know how many was women and how many were men, but I'm sure it was a lot of women for her to get this sentence that, a mother could never. Because that's emotional. Thinking about you and your mom. You and your mom don't have nothing to do with Vivian and Shelly. I know that 2 things can be true at once. I love my mother dearly, but I also know there's a lot of funky bitches raising children. I know that for a fact. 2 things can be true at once. So I would never let my decision with me and my mom take away from the fact that her and her mom didn't have that relationship, didn't have that bond. But yet still, this woman still was held accountable for only 12 years, and her daughter only lived 17. So you got 5 years less than the as long as your daughter was alive. Your daughter lived for 17 years. You got 12. They didn't even give you 17 years.
Wow.
You could go forward. Another sensationalized case, Alexis Crawford. This is from 2019. And Alexis Crawford was a 21-year-old student in Atlanta, going to Clark, Atlanta, living her life. One of 9 siblings, married parents, came from a good home, worked hard to get there, wanted to sign up. She ended up picking her roommate as her best friend as her roommate. They grew up together, knew each other for years. Young girl coming to her family. Everybody knew her. So Alexis reported going out with her best friend and her best friend's boyfriend. And they was drinking and everything. They come back home. Alexis says she wake up in the middle of the night. I think she's getting assaulted by the boyfriend. So like any woman should do who has that courage and has that bravery, she went and she filed a police report on the sexual assault. However, Alexis turns up missing, The family's wondering, they doing press releases. Please bring our daughter home. Alexis, we here for you. We love you. Like I said, she coming out strong. 8 siblings and 2 parents. The family of 10 looking for her. And next slide. The betrayal. Her roommate, Jordan Jones, her best friend, Jordan Jones from childhood, took her boyfriend's side instead of her friend's. So a few days later, Jordan put a plastic bag over her best friend's head while her boyfriend strangled her. They dumped Alexis's body in a park. This hurt so much because Alexis trusted Jordan like her sister. But Jordan chose the boyfriend over her friend and helped cover up the crime. And both Jordan and Brantley, they was both charged and arrested with murder. This goes into that fake friend, that jealousy. Jordan had a good life too. Jordan had 2 parents too, but the male influence, the jealousy. You didn't even see her as a human. You didn't see her as a sister. You didn't see her as a friend. You didn't see her as anything. You saw her as trash and you discarded her as such over your man. How are you supposed to be my sister or my friend? I go somewhere with you or I confide in you. It don't matter if your man did it. It don't matter if any man did it. You guys love to say that men this and men that, but you guys are male centered. A lot of you are male centered because you forget. The reason why I say you forget that trifling ass man 100 times for cheating on your ass. Your pussy been burning. All these things, but your friend, you fall out one time and all her business is on social media. You know what I'm saying? So no loyalty, no camaraderie, no respect, not only for yourself, for your friend. You're not going to be with this man. I know y'all in separate prisons. You'll never be with him again. And Alexis don't get to finish college. Alexis don't get to have a life and a love and children and anything. She's gone because if somebody couldn't stand up for her, my homegirl, the person I'm telling my deepest, darkest secrets to, you don't care? Too much conflict. You can go forward. Kayla Hodgkins, I think this is the most disturbing, but I wanted to get to the nitty gritty. The victim is Kayla Hodgkins, and she was a 23-year-old waitress, bartender, flight attendant, doing her thing, very young, very beautiful, living her life. This incident happened actually July 13th of 2022. Kayla was found unresponsive inside her apartment at the Tamarack Village complex. I think she lived in Florida, yeah. Her throat was slit. I hate to be so gruesome, but I want to be real. Clean cut, 23-year-old young lady, gone. Bye. You can go to the next slide. Shakina Thompson. Now, this girl was really popping on social media, makeup artist, hairstylist, beautiful, obvious, She lived in New York. The reason why she had such a bone to pick with Miss Kayla is because they were sleeping with the same man, who Shakina, this is her man. This who she want to be with. This who she with. She's sleeping with her man, and she finds out because Kayla's in Florida. Shakina's in New York. But she found out that, you met this flight attendant. You know what I mean? Stalked this girl, was at her place, went to her apartment. Traveling from New York to Florida to take somebody's life for over a man is diabolical. You know what I mean? This girl, she was arrested in Queens in August of 2022 for first-degree murder. It was like a love affair over the same man. Shakina actually happened to be pregnant. So she told the judge, I've never been in trouble in my life. I'm having my first baby. Can I get let out? Girl, who is you talking to? You slip someone's throat. You know what I mean? Are you out your mind? Are you insane? And then that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how beautiful. It doesn't matter the clout. The previous video we watched talked about the beauty of women. The most beautiful women be the most insecure, despite what you think.
Yep.
The ones that need to wake up every day and put on a performance, put on a cover up who they really are, from makeup to wigs to this to that, jewelry and all these extra things. I'm not saying you can't be an extravagant woman. That's not what I'm saying. But oftentimes the ones who do every day go out of their way to cover up who they truly are, they're the most insecure.
Hands down.
You know what I mean? So this performative fighting is all for clout. This social media, it amplifies conflict. Many Black girls, they lack conflict resolution and emotional regulation skills, and that's the biggest issue because those things are taught in the home. The people that used to tell me, just breathe, tell me how you feel. Stop the attitude and speak. Those were my parents, the ones that were helping me handle my aggression. Those are my parents, you know what I'm saying? So these things start at home. If you can't emotionally regulate yourself, don't have any children, because these children will be emotionally unregulated, and it's not something that the community needs any more of. Anger and being upset and thinking that the world owes you something. The world don't owe you anything. When you're an adult, your parents don't owe you anything, whether they did you right or wrong. Too much victimhood and thinking that just because you've been through something that you have the right to put somebody else through something. That's the most entitled attitude I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Thinking that just because your life was bad that you got to show up that way in this world, showing up disgusting and disrespectful and low life. These are words that we usually use for men, right? Dog, low life, low love. This is how you bitches is showing up. And there's a difference between a Black woman and a Black bitch, and I'll say it. I don't care. The word don't mean nothing coming out of my mouth because it's the truth. Two different categories. Black women know what's up. Black bitches they're gonna deflect, they're gonna project, they're gonna deny, they deny their children. You know what I'm saying? It starts from the home. The same type of women that go against any message that we put out is the same type of women whose children gonna be no contact when they're of age. And I'm letting you know that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna want to fuck with you because you can't even check yourself. They know that my mama will never be who I need her to be. I just rather remove myself altogether. You will not know your grandchildren. You will not know. Talking about a man gonna die alone. A lot of you bitches is gonna die very lonely deaths, cats and dogs. That's it. And it's the truth. And it's the harsh truth, but it's the truth because you're so disgusting, you're so distasteful, you're so nasty, you're so negative, you're so toxic, and you're so trauma-filled that it's like pulling teeth to be around you. Even in a social setting, I don't want to be around y'all. I look and I know the type, you know the prototype, you know what it's gonna look like, you know what it's gonna sound like, you know what it's gonna move like. It's like robots, you know. I don't want to fuck with these robotics. Let me stay over here. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yep. And before we go to the next slide, too, right? When you brought something up about if you can't emotionally regulate yourself, don't have children, that's what this is about right here. I talked to men about this. They must have sexual discipline in order to be seen as credible leaders and maximize their opportunities. And if you can't control that, you're going to always be in this situation right here. A sudden situation, sexually undisciplined dating decisions ending negative. And that's exactly what's going on. That story you just told where the guy was assaulting her and he was in the mix. He made a poor decision.
Right.
He made a sudden decision. And look what he ended up with, you know. So yeah. Just add more context to what you got going on from the male side.
Right.
You ready for the next slide?
Yeah, before I move on, I just want to say that she had the baby in jail and it's being raised by the dad. You don't even get to raise your child, your first and only child. And you know, behaviors don't change. You probably got another woman raising your child. Let's be honest. So what did you really gain, Shekinah? Absolutely nothing but bars. Now you're being held accountable for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Probably should have got your ass beat a couple times, then you would have been all right, you know? It never hurt nobody. I just want to talk about a case that you can go back. I just want to talk about a case real quick that I didn't add just to discuss real quick. So a woman named Brittany Booker. This was in 2002. She was a 30-year-old mother. Her life was taken by her best friend's abusive boyfriend. They wasn't even married, boyfriend. She tried to help her friend leave the toxic situation, and the abuser retaliated against her. Black women sometimes often absorb too much trauma that don't belong to them. That's that vicarious trauma I always tell y'all about. Look it up. It's like you're putting when you talk about putting yourself in somebody's shoes, you do it literally. Like you feel their pain. You know what I mean? You feel their disdain. It's almost like it was you. So you go so hard and assume that problem like it's yours, or assume that issue like it's yours. That's why a lot of Black women have, which we're gonna say for another day, but a lot of trauma with Black men that they ain't never put you through nothing. But because you absorb your mothers and your grandmothers and your aunties and all the women in your family's vicarious trauma, you think you were hurt by a man. And it didn't even happen. When you really fall in love, you see that, oh man, love is beautiful. Love is kind. Like this man really loved me, and your family chased him away. It is what it is. You got to understand. Lack of safety nets for Black women in abusive relationships. Why? Why is that? Because a lot of you push your family away. You don't want to. You don't want the help. They try to come save you, offer out, and you go back because it takes eight times to leave, and the final time that you leave is the most dangerous. When you see things that you don't fly with, that you can't deal with, you got to go. And also the cultural silence of minding your business. You know what I mean? Sometimes you should mind your business, but how loyalty and being so loyal to the sisterhood can actually put you in harm's way. You know, all these teen Black girls that are having social media beef, test scores suck, ain't even getting good grades in school, but you can go online all day and bully. Cyberbullying is real, especially amongst Black people. And if children could be charged, I feel like adults should be charged. I really do. Yeah. I really do. Social media beefs, the boy drama, public embarrassment. It often escalates to deadly violence in our community. 2 Black girls fighting over a boy and one stabs the other. That's been cases. And it's not just the girls, it's the women. Like I said, it's just it allows aggression to continue when we want to mind our business or we want to just pull out our phone. Everybody, I'm not getting in that, but it's going to be knocking at your door if you don't get into it. So you're going to be forced to get into it if you don't be proactive. A lot of black people and a lot of in the black community, they want to be reactive instead of proactive. You wait till something happens, then you want to do something about it instead of already. It doesn't matter if you raise your children the best. You provide them with a perfect home, you and your man or you and your woman, a great home. They're gonna run across a gremlin one day, and I'm just letting you know that the stars is gonna align where they meet an undisciplined, unhinged hyena gremlin hybrid with a daddy that don't care and a mama don't care. And when they wreak havoc on your family and your child, that's when you're gonna care. It shouldn't take that. You should care now. It shouldn't be a personal thing that affects you personally for you to care about it. If my neighbor house is on fire, I'm gonna be concerned because next is mine.
Yep.
But so many people feel like it's a lot of bougie blacks too, you know, in our community that feel like I'm above it. That's fine. You're gonna be above it until the stars align because you still have to go to the hood for something. Somebody's still gonna find out about you. Your child is still gonna meet somebody that is not raised in the best circumstance. Then what are you gonna do?
Then what?
Your degrees and your white programming ain't gonna help with no niggas, and I'm letting you know that it's not.
They don't have a plan. They don't have a playbook
Because they feel like it's not gonna reach me. Feel untouchable. Yep. We got to talk about this unresolved trauma, this generational pain passed down of anger, of disappointment, of just systemically. We know if you're smart enough to know, you got that phone in your hand all day, you on social media all day, you should know your history in this country, that black families were destroyed. A government program, it was a conspiracy to destroy the black family. If you know that, you wouldn't take for granted having kids with no dad. If you knew that and you cared, you wouldn't take for granted pumping your seed in every bitch that you meet, every woman that you meet.
No, you said it right.
If you really cared about that, if you cared about the things that we've been through, if you want to honor our past, you'll make a better future. And that starts with keeping your fucking legs closed and keeping your dick in your pants. That's what it starts with. You have to be so derogatory to our people because y'all don't understand people talking to you kindly, and it's the truth. You don't understand when somebody, hey, nigga, get it together. Let's get it together because we have to. Our life and our future is dependent on it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's jealousy and betrayal, the feelings of being disrespected, being triggered. Everybody triggered. I get triggered all day, every day. It's a quote out there. I don't know who said, I think it's anonymous, but it says like life is like 90%, 10% of what happens and 90% of actually what you respond to. That's life. So it's always today could be the worst day of your life. You wake up, you got a flat tire. Now you're late for work. Your dog died this weekend. Your bills is late. It will be so many things like I said, that movie Straw, causing you to want to snap. The set, you don't have the privilege, especially being black. You don't have the privilege to snap. You don't have the privilege to blame nothing on mental health. Your ass gonna be behind bars. Then who's gonna raise your kids if you're the primary parent, mama? If you're the only thing they have, mama, who's gonna be here? Y'all don't even think that far ahead. You just want to feel instant relief. And the thing is, it's all emotional. I watch a lot. Like I said, I watch a lot of crime shows. So experts say that, like, when they pull the trigger, say if somebody want to do a murder, suicide or whatever. Oftentimes they don't go through with it when it comes to themselves because that emotion is already released when you pull the trigger for the person that you took their life. You know what I'm saying? So it's only a matter of releasing the emotion. And usually with pulling that trigger, it releases that emotion of sadness, frustration, anger, whatever it may be. Emotional regulation will save the world. Emotional regulation will save our community. That was sexual discipline. We wouldn't have the problems that we have. It wouldn't be that much issue that we have. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we don't want to dig deep. Everything is for show. Everything is for bravado. Everything is for being trendy and being viral. That nobody want to do the inner work that it takes. They just want to dress up the outside and play like they know what's going on. Play like they got it all together instead of really getting the help that they need. Mental health gaps. Black women often skip therapy due to cost or stigma. Now, there has been platforms like BetterHelp, different things through your insurance where mental health therapy or whatever you need for your mental health is very cheap and cost effective nowadays, Mm-hmm. But the stigma in the Black community, this not only goes for Black women, the Black community, period. When we talk about our mind, depression, anxiety, things of that nature, being exhausted, being overworked, it's like man up, woman up. You know what I mean? Anybody else can say, I'm exhausted, I'm taking a vacation. Anybody else can be okay with that. But when it comes to us, we don't want to be stigmatized as crazy. In the Black community, you could be gay, you could be a pedophile, you could be all these things, but to be mental, like crazy, they don't want that, Jackie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You say Big Mama had, she getting her foot. They're not cutting off my arm. They ain't cutting off my leg. Big Mama, your arm. When we talk about that, diabetes, everybody, diabetes running my family, high blood pressure running my family, all these things running the family, but nobody want to talk about the depression and the mental health that run in their family. That's a conversation that's quiet, when all our behavior is loud. We know something's wrong and something's off with the family. Look how y'all present yourself.
Man, we could talk about eating ass before we talk about mental health.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the biggest thing I feel for this generation, for this, not even generation, for this time, the past, I would say probably the past 15 years for sure, is this social media influence and this reality TV, these viral fights, glamorizing aggression, glamorizing violence, glamorizing getting your lick back. I'm getting my lick back. That's what our sisters love to say. Lack of safe spaces, like for real safe healing spaces where Black women can process that anger safely, because it's not, you go to the club with your friends, you're drinking alcohol, y'all got them things in the car. Anybody look at you a certain way, y'all on go. When you talk about TTG, trained to go, that's our sisters. You know what I mean? Trained to go, ready. Like I said, looking at you, what, bitch? Like they ready. They ready for shit to go down. They don't care about them kids. What she say? Family of six, mother of six. They don't care about them kids at home.
No.
The woman that's being aggressive towards you, she don't care about your kids at home. She don't even give a fuck about her own kids at home, because she wouldn't be starting this problem with you if she did.
Right.
How often are you going to the club? Why are you leaving home to go? You could tell by people's behaviors that they don't care about being parents. So you shouldn't. You shouldn't be parents. Got to learn how to start, being real, because you're creating the next generation, and it's just anger fueled. And it's like a short fuse. Offended by everything.
Ashamed of nothing.
Anything, not ashamed of anything, respectful of nothing. These are the things, these are the young people that you're breeding. And that you're not making them in love. You're breeding them like animals do. You're breeding them like the white people did us in slavery. You're breeding. You're not even trying to vet. Don't even know. When you breed a child, it's like you put your hand in the basket and you're not looking. You just, you know what I mean? When you just pick anybody to have a kid with, you're putting your hand in, reaching out, hoping for the best. This is why a lot of y'all not connected to your children. Wasn't connected to their fathers. You can go ahead.
Okay. Cooking.
The final story that I want to talk about, I think this is the final one. The victims was Roman and Mecca. Now, of course, they're biracial. Their mother's Black, however. On October 28th, 2024, last year, a 33-year-old woman named Shianti Means climbed over the guardrail at Luna Island, that's in Niagara Falls State Park in New York, with her two children, 9-year-old Roman and 5-month-old Mecca, and deliberately jumped into the falls with them. Jumped. Everybody said it wasn't an accident. It was a lot of witnesses. And these witnesses all said that it wasn't an accident. Everybody's story said that she deliberately, intentionally jumped with her children. If you go to the next slide. And a lot of conversation came up in the Black community, especially with Black women that always want to discourage Black men's struggles and stories, but encourage Black women's bad behavior and justify and condone their bad behavior, that it was postpartum depression, So my question is, was it postpartum depression or cold-blooded murder? Do a Black man get to jump over a rail with his children? It was a white man that took both his daughters' lives in there. I think three children lives in Arizona a couple weeks ago. And they demonizing this man because he's a cold-blooded murderer. But she's postpartum depression. She has postpartum depression. And these are actual screenshots of her page a couple of weeks before she did what she did. So September 20th, she said, I wish someone would love me because the man that's supposed to does not. And October 1st, mind you, this happened October 24th, she said, you have to hold on to the ones you love. Never know when you might lose them. That don't sound like nobody postpartum. That sounds like somebody that's premeditating something to me.
Yeah.
You wanted him to hurt. You know what I mean? You wanted him to feel. Because somebody that don't want you did the ultimate. Usually when somebody don't want you take them to court, take their money, play with games with their kids. But you did the ultimate. We gonna all be out of here. How about that? And everybody, this is why these things continue to happen. No accountability because she murdered. That's murder. Let's tell her what it is. You can say, you can fantasize that she jumped. This woman murdered herself. She took her own life and took the lives of her children. They didn't have a choice. She could have left him with one of them witnesses.
Yep.
She could have left him with somebody out there and took her and did what she had to do for herself. But she wanted to play God. I don't care. There's help out there. Like I said, if this was a black man that did the same thing with his children, he would not get no grace. He wouldn't have any understanding, and he would be deemed the devil. So why does Chianti get a pass? She does not for me.
Yeah. Because if she wanted help, she would have taken the time to ask for help via social
Something
media.
that I gotta add. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Something I would like to add is that Chianti was a domestic violence counselor with her master's degree. So she's not slow, far from slow. She know her resources. She know who her network is. She could have got that help. But you wanted to prove a point to Roman and to Mecca's father that I run shit around here. I'm the big dog. You know what I mean? By making a decision that man can't even function. I know he can't. His children are gone. I don't know why black women feel like they're the only ones that could miss the children and love the children. And that a dad is okay when not seeing his children for days or weeks or months or years. But you can't do it. You couldn't do 24 hours without your child. You know what I mean? I just don't like how we allow these cycles to continue. We allow and we dismiss and we excuse this bad behavior. It's not right at all. It's no real conversations happening. When we talk about lack of resources, when we know that we come from a systemic system that we're already 500 years behind, you have to have a plan in this life. You foolish not to. You have to vet. You foolish not to. Ain't no generational wealth without a generational family. It's simple. Y'all don't like to hear that. Money matters more than family connections and family ties and family bonds to a lot of y'all. It's a generational trauma that we have normalized conflict as survival. And it shouldn't be that way. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, it's the situation. It's not the situation, it's the unresolved trauma that causes the snap of our women. Anger has been used as a coping mechanism. The strong black woman is a myth. The day that we let that myth die is the day that we can get the help that we look for, that we need, that we too proud to ask. Feel like, if I ask more than once, I'm begging. No, you're not. If you ask more than once, you're asking for help. It's simple. Stop living in these childish, romanticized thoughts that, I don't have to say anything and everybody know that I'm failing. I don't have to admit it. If you don't know me, if you can't read me as your friend or your sister or your spouse, if you can't read my mind, you don't love me. That's the biggest form of delusion, sister. You got to go get checked for that mental health we talking about. Because nobody's coming to save you, especially if you don't ask. A lot of you will die from smoke inhalation or third-degree burns before you pick up the phone and dial 911. And you have the resources there. You don't want to submit to needing help. And I don't care. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not so self-righteous where I feel like I can't ask for help. I've never been that way. I need your help. I need your help, whether sister, whether brother, whether mother, whether father. I'm not doing good today. I need your help. I need your encouraging words. The same person that I am. You got to teach people how to treat you.
Yep.
And a lot already assume they come off like that woman said, the white man, the white woman that you work for, and that's very scarce because y'all be having a lot of stuff, fouled on y'all too. Not being able to get along in the workplace. Young girl just took her manager's life 2 weeks ago because they had a conflict in the workplace, 2 black women. So sometimes that don't even work, but like I said, it's a black woman in power. A lot of black women stories of when I have a boss and she's a black woman, it's not successful. It's not a good relationship. It's a power struggle. Why? We make ourselves look foolish. All the world's a stage, but we on that stage making ourselves look foolish. Yesterday, I think it was this past couple days ago in Houston, it was like a place giving out free hair. They said they were gonna give out free bundles. A beauty supply store. I seen the line was so long, they had to close it. They didn't even make it. Was so unorganized, chaotic. Some people camping out, some women camping out 3 p.m. the previous day. You know what I'm saying? For some free bundles. A girl made a video. She said, "Y'all don't even get up for church that early." Y'all don't even make it to church.
With some
Y'all
bundles?
can't even make it to school on time, but you up for some free bundles. Priorities all fucked up. That's the problem. Fighting in line. Somebody got maced. Somebody had to go rush to the hospital over some bundles.
Behind some bundles?
Some bundles. And I don't even think that much people didn't get. They had to shut it down. Unorganized, chaotic. That's what I'm saying. So I see that bundles need to be put on the rat trap. Not cheese, put the bundles on the rat trap. They'll come. We gotta say behind the algorithm and there the fuck out podcast. Log in for some bundles. We'll have the whole world, all the world's a stage, huh? It's sad, and I just wanted to bring this awareness because you have to be willing as a Black woman to lose those friendships that don't serve you. Because a lot of y'all not growing because your toxic behavior and your disrespectful ways mirrors your friends. And I'll say that again. A lot of your toxic and disrespectful ways, it mirrors your friends. So nobody's calling nobody out because it's your similar personalities, your similar characteristics. You guys have similarities. So for me to say, girl, you wrong for, sleeping with that man, that girl's man, is for her to say, girl, you wrong. You know what I mean? For me to say, oh, you wrong for not letting your kids' dad be a part of their life, is for me to say, girl, you wrong. Because what the internet has done is created a breeding ground for trauma bonds, And if I write a post, oh, my baby daddy ain't shit, here come 1,000 shares, 500 comments of all these baby daddies, that's not nothing. And is it really that all these men aren't nothing, or are we just talking about our equals? What's the real? You know what I mean? We're talking about our equals. Yep. Because on a page when it's Black love and it's a Black wedding and it's a man honoring his woman, then the conversation in the comments become different. Then it's, dear Lord, it's me again. Yeah. He heard you, he ain't listening to your ass. Like you you gotta grow and do what you need to do. You on God got you blocked. You know what I mean? Like you full of shit. He not listening to your nonsense. We have shifted our culture as women where the women go, the culture goes, and we are in hell because we don't care. There's no shame. There's no accountability. There's no work being done. Everybody that don't respect the patriarchy, like you said, they still get pregnant. You pregnant in the patriarchy is crazy. But you're pregnant though. You don't respect men, but you keep bending over for them though. You don't respect men, but you keep producing their children though. You don't respect men, but you have sons though. You know what I mean? It's sickening that this is the mind frame of the women that I hold so in high. I love Black women. I love being a Black woman. I hold them in high regards. I know the conversation always becomes like, you be bashing. I don't. Like I just said, the mother, she set the tone for her household. She set the tone for her children and her man. Mama cook, mama clean. This is how I grew up. Mother encourages everybody. You pour back into your mother too by behaving yourself. You pour back into your woman too by behaving yourself. This is a family. We working. The only people that's gonna honor you as a woman is your family, your man, and your children. The same thing y'all don't want, a family. You want to be honored by the community. We don't do that. We don't play them games. Your family honors you. Your children honor you. Your husband honors you. Your man honors you. Y'all don't want that. Y'all want to be the head nigga in charge. So these men are letting y'all be the head niggas in charge. They're letting you raise your children. They're opting out. You want the check? I'll give you the check. Then when it don't go your way, you think money don't do anything. Money is a resource. Money is a tool. Money's not a parent. And when things don't go your way, then you're upset. That's what we're dealing with. Violence. It starts with very young, teaching your children how to not emotionally regulate. Your children learn from you. How you talk to people, how you love people, how you communicate with people, how you honor or dishonor people. Your children are watching. Then they go to school and they act it out. Your children are watching. Whether aggression, whether violence, whether anger, your babies are watching you, boys and girls. You have a breeding ground of very malleable minds. You're breeding like it's every weekend for one marriage. There's 10 baby showers, probably 20. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the Black community. So you're breeding, constantly breeding, and before your child takes their first breath, there's no relationship. Family broken the family's broken when the seed is planted. And I'll say that again. A lot of black families are broken when the seed is planted. You and this man didn't even care. You didn't do anything. Sex is the most primal thing. So it's not about vetting. Animals do it. You know what I mean? That's why we have to control that. Have to be disciplined in that. To say that, yeah, he fine. But is he the right fit for my life and the things that I'm trying to accomplish? Yeah, that ass fat. She gonna, carry my legacy in a positive way. She gonna raise my children in a positive way. Because when it's all said and done, I know y'all be like, oh, the daddy's got to pitch in. And I agree. I do agree. However, you want to be a traditional woman, you have to understand that the household duties falls on the mother. The parenting and nurturing falls on the mother primarily. Yeah, your husband's there. He gonna guide them children. He gonna be there too. But the hands-on is for mama. And a lot of y'all, you're hands-on, but you don't want the provision of a man because you don't know how to listen. You don't know how to be cooperative. You don't know how to be likable. Same way y'all only listen to men is when y'all bending over. The only time that a man like y'all is when he can bend you over. You're not likable. That's why he don't stay when he done. That's why he take that warm towel. He gotta go. You're not likable. You don't know how to listen. You don't know how to be nice. You don't know how to be kind. There's no kindness. I grew up in a Baptist church. Every black woman there was kind, like kind. They might have been strict. They might have been firm, but the eyes are the windows to the soul. Kind women telling me, showing me. I'm emulating how to be a woman, how to be a lady. I'm talking about the old school mothers, 80 and 90 years old when I'm 5 and 6. Kind, soft, warm. You give them a hug, you feel like you laying in bed. Like it's just like it's something that it's magnetic. When it's a good, spiritual, kind, compassionate black woman, that love and that energy is magnetic. And we don't have that no more. So you can't be upset and be sad and be frustrated when a man don't want to marry you. And he's looking for other options. Even when I do marry you, it's like a limbo because am I marrying a representative? Is your mask gonna drop on our honeymoon? That's the risk black men are taking. If I promise to provide and protect, when you have my first baby, are you gonna switch up on me? But y'all, like, what did she say? Men don't really never change, but women, they'll sink their teeth into you. Put that point. They made a song Poison, never trust a big button to smile. These brothers didn't make that shit for no reason.
Nope.
And these are celebrities. At that time, New Edition, BBD, that was the biggest out. They know. Tupac, one of my favorite things that he ever said, last year I was in this club. I was lonely. Nigga couldn't get a date. Standing by myself. This year I got a hit song. Now the same people that wasn't looking at me last year, they screaming. They can't contain themselves. He's so fine now. Bitch, I got money now. Stop playing with yourself. You know what I mean? Same person.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I'm not dating no short man. Let him have $100,000, $100 million. That's your man. I'm not dating this. I'm not dating that. Baby, if he got what you need, that's your man. Stop playing. That's why when everybody look back, I can't believe I can't believe that was my type. I can't believe I dated him. Because if he got what you want, you're going. Simple. Don't matter how he look. We have to start holding ourselves accountable. We got to start getting the help that we need. Therapy is okay. Coaching is more than okay. Church is not helping y'all because a lot of y'all really claim to be Christians. A lot of y'all really go to church and it's not working. It's only so much the pastor can tell you. It's not working. Accountability, that's something that you got to do on your own.
Mm-hmm. Come on. You are really cooking it up today, and because this is the type of stuff that need to be discussed, in the tone in which you're delivering it, and they need to hear it. So
I don't like to be, for me, I feel like, okay, today I'm not going to curse. That's what I do. But it's something that about calling a spade, calling a bitch. Like, you got to know, like, I'm speaking to you. If you feel triggered, if you feel convicted, if you feel angry from what I'm saying, I'm talking to you directly.
Yep.
Because you're the problem. You definitely are the problem. It takes nothing to be nice. That's free. Y'all love free shit, right? Kindness is free. Y'all was out there for them bundles fighting. Kindness is free. It don't take nothing to treat your kids well. It don't take nothing. If you want to keep drowning in your sorrow, why is it that mama always is the victim? The kid can't never be the victim. They living with you. The kid cannot be the victim. The man can't be the victim. It's the mother that's the victim. We got to step it up. Like, it's not looking good. Every day it's a new headline. Every day. And like you said here lately, it's not behind the man. Women versus women versus women versus women. That's what it's been. Black woman versus black woman versus black woman versus black woman. That's what it's been. And it's not only, it's not fist fights. They bringing them things. They bringing knives, you know. They really going in, not caring. For you not to, you know, when you're a parent, right? When you're an adult, you got to be able to compartmentalize your life, you know. Mm-hmm. For your common sense not to come and say, we having beef on social media. I say words, fuck you, bitch. Your house, you got roaches and rats, you know. Mm-hmm. For that to transform into one of y'all dead, it makes zero sense. And these be mothers. That's what I'm saying.
The same behavior that they blame men for.
Come on now. How is your day looking if you're spending 12 of the 24 hours online arguing with somebody? When do the kids get mommy? When do the kids get to eat? When do the kids get to play, mom? Mm-hmm. If you're online all day, when are you going to be my mom, mommy? You know, bitch, if you don't put that phone down and go raise your damn kids, you know, to be honest, like, it's your life, your lives have revolved around these platforms that are in theory fake. Like, you don't know that bitch from Minnesota. That's not your homegirl for real, but you comment every day. Y'all act like y'all besties, you know what I mean? Even the people that you really know. You spend all day throwing shots to your family, all day throwing shots to your friend. You're not raising your children. Then when they go to school, they can barely read, they're barely potty trained. Your older kids disrespecting, acting like they want to punch out a teacher. And these teachers not getting paid enough for that shit to be dealing with your animals. Mm-mm. Then you don't want to collaborate. You blame everything on the teacher. You got to raise your children. Or don't have them. Stop having them. Opt out altogether. You don't have to be a mom. Everybody don't deserve to be a parent. There's no handbook. You don't have to bring kids here. And you don't have to keep doing it. Because a lot of y'all, it's like the most disgusting, the most disrespectful. Y'all the ones that have the most children. That's the sad part.
Yep.
The people that are ready, the people that are able, maybe one, maybe adopted, maybe. A lot of people struggling with infertility. And you have 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 10, 12, 3, 4. And they're all hyenas, just like their mama. Good kids, smart kids. These children every black child that has like a bad story or grew up rough. What do they always say? I was a bright kid. I was smart. I was so happy until, you know what I mean? You have great children, good kids that love you. They don't even know that you fucked up, mama, but they worship the ground you walk on until they realize they know better, you know? They do it until they know better. But for the first 10, 12 years, your children think you're God. Yeah, whether you right or wrong, you could be the devil. They'll still worship you like you're God. Yep. So it's really up to you. If you find that your kid can't stand your ass, you have hurt them multiple times. I gotta tell you multiple times. And if it comes to the point where your kid is just all of a sudden just saying, you know what, fuck it, mama, and they don't even want to deal with you, that's a hurt child. Because don't no good parents, first of all, have children that go no contact. Black kids are not going no contact with the good mamas and daddies. And you rarely hear about a dad. This is mostly for black mothers. There's no child going no contact with a good mom. Nobody's losing that the person in your corner. My mama was, you know, always there, fair, but she was firm. She didn't play that shit. My mama's a great woman. Nobody's going no contact with that mama. They're going no contact with you whores, with you bitches. They're going no contact with you bitches that grew up in competition with your daughters, grew up emotionally molesting your sons. That's who's going no contact. The children that grew up with alcoholics and sexual deviants as mothers. That's who's going no contact with mama. It's not nobody that was a God-fearing, praying mom that really put me on the up and up, guided me into the right ways of a man or womanhood, tried her best, single or not. Because it was a point in our time when black brothers was being taken out the house and their children were still being successful because mama cared. Single women have raised some of the greatest, the smartest children out there, talented. We ain't gonna glamorize it. Don't get me wrong, but they have. If you care about what you're doing and you care about your child, you're gonna make sure you produce a great child, whether you're doing it by yourself or with help. But now y'all don't care. You don't give a fuck about yourself, and you're creating a child in brokenness. You're creating a child in shame. You're creating a child being depressed. You think that this child is gonna save your life, and all it's doing is adding another problem to your life. And I'm being real. Yeah, we let the kids cute, dress them up, nice, dog. Real life, shitty diapers, diarrhea, sick, no runny nose, coughing. God forbid special needs. God forbid childhood cancer. God forbid a childhood accident. God forbid your child not being born with all their limbs. God forbid that. We talking about the basics. Just creating a functioning human being. We're not talking about anything that can go awry during conception. We're not talking about anything that can go awry during childhood. We're talking about a regular, normal, standard 5 finger, 5 toes baby. When they get a certain age, it's not going to be cute no more. When you are talking to you, crazy and disrespectful, it's not going to be cute no more. Now you're going to want to slap the taste out of her mouth, right? Because I'm your mother. Now your son, you won't want to call the police on your own son because he's not listening. It's not that they're not listening. They have learned you. And they have learned that mama is full of shit. They don't know how to articulate that at 12 and 13 and 14. They articulate it through the anger. They articulate it through the attitudes. They don't know how to say, mama, you not shit. And I've seen, and I want to go live with my dad. Because why? When a black boy start acting up with his mama, she kick him out. When a black girl start acting up with her mama, she got to go. Because now they're smelling themselves. They never think that I've done this. These are the monsters that I've created.
Yep. Every time I talk to a black man, the first experience they ever had with the police is when their mother called the police on them.
No uncles, no dad. First of all, no dad. That should be the first.
The first thing. No dad. Yep.
First commander in chief is your daddy. Like I always say, I love to use Boys in the Hood. With Trey's mom, that's played by Angela Bassett, versus Doughboy and Ricky's mom. Her name is Miss Reva. No, Miss Reva Styles is Angela Bassett. The other one is Miss Baker. Their children are playmates. Like I said, you're gonna run into it no matter what. The children are playmates. These are Trey's friends. So your son has two parents. He's living with his father. His mom decided, you know what? You're doing too much. You're acting out too much. I can't do it. You're gonna go live with your father. She had a contract. She hit her son with the contract. You said that you're gonna behave yourself. You said that it wasn't gonna be another fight. You going with your dad. She had her own. This clear. Can't get no clear as a mother to your son. The other one, 2 children, 2 different fathers. You favorite one. That must have been the man you was in love with. But sometimes it's opposite. If you in love, you could have been in love with Doughboy Daddy. That's why you treated him so bad. You know what I mean? So just seeing the structure of like you and mom talking mess to both of your boys. Y'all don't help me clean nothing. The older one is giving you a more of a problem because he probably hip to the bullshit. Doughboy probably knew his mama was full of shit very early. He from LA. He know. But because his personality don't really bow down to yours, he's the problem child. He's the one that you ain't shit. You got not gonna be shit just like your daddy. You're digging in on this young boy. You know what I mean? You're digging in on his confidence. You're digging in on his self-esteem. It's a movie, but it's so many moments like that.
Yeah, the emasculation.
Emasculating your sons. And the one mom decided, I can't do it. I'm going to give him to his dad. And Trey was okay. Ended up going to college. Ended up being, with his girl, Nia. I forgot her name in the movie, but ended up doing good. Best friend got murdered. Everything he going through, he still got his dad's wisdom and guidance in the forefront. You know what I mean? Ricky looked promising. Athlete, about to go to school. But also, we got to look at Ricky's structure. Ricky got a baby. He's not even out of high school. And his girlfriend's living, what Doughboy say? In-house pussy. What he say?
Yep.
You know what I mean? He got it in-house. I can't even come in here and get comfortable. But Ricky got a whole woman and kid up in here. My mama gonna cuss me out if I look at her wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So imagine if Doughboy got that poured into him. He could have been something. But the moral of my story is both of her kids ended up dead. The good one and the bad one.
Yep. They
both ended up murdered. By your teachings, by your guidance, by your wisdom or lack thereof. This is what I'm saying. Trey, Ricky, and Doughboy were all friends. So if you think your child is exempt from that experience, they're not. Your child's gonna meet one of those kids that we're talking about. Yep. One of those unhinged, one of those ratchet, one of those low-level learners that just have nothing but anger in them. The way that you love your kid. It was an incident at the school. My nephew was being bullied. He was like 2nd or 3rd grade. It all came down to the boy saying, like, you have both of your parents. They happy to drop you off. You have a dad. Like, a young black boy mad that another young black boy have parents, you know? This is the things that these are the insecurities that you guys are giving your children. These are the insecurities in 2025. Where's my dad? You know what I'm saying? Where's my new backpack? Where's my dad coming to this? Where's my mom? Because the same way y'all pulling up for free bundles, y'all not pulling up like that for back to school night.
No.
The same way y'all pulling up for free bundles, y'all not pulling up like that for when it's sports night when your kid want to try a sport. That shit costs too much. You rather die. You rather have a mental death, a spiritual death. You rather be down and out than pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Jamal, little Jamal, it's too much. It's becoming too much. You think you can help me out, but you don't want that. Fuck Jamal. He ain't shit." And little Jamal been hearing that his whole life. You know what I'm saying? Your daughter acting up, and instead of picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, Jamal," little Jessica is acting a fool. I need you to come speak to your daughter. I need you to come get your daughter. Fuck that nigga. You don't need him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need him, but Jamal and Jessica need him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to need him. That's fine. Then you wonder why you want to be the primary parent. A lot of y'all want to be the friend. You want to be the likable parent. A lot of y'all really have this big chip on your shoulder that if the dad becomes involved with his kids, he might be the favorite parent. Newsflash, he might be. Because it's just some shit that your daddy just swagged out, you know? It's something about dad that you want to be in your daddy's skin. Like, your dad is just the man when you were a kid. The same way your mom is like your angel, your daddy is like the cool one. Your daddy's the man. Like, your daddy is just, you want to be a big dog like your daddy, whether you're a son or a daughter. Your dad will be your favorite parent because your daddy, oftentimes, daddy give you shit straight, no chaser. Mommy try to keep it padded. Like, mommy want to keep you padded and protected. Daddy gonna keep it protected by keeping it real and letting you know this is the dangers of the world. These are the dangers. I want to take precaution. Daddy gonna teach you how to emotionally regulate. A lot of women didn't make it work with their baby father because you couldn't emotionally regulate with your man. You acted like a child. Now he got to raise you and the kid you guys created. We got to get back to business. We got to get back to community. This takes stripping us of everything right now and really being letting the wounds come up. Taking off them motherfucking wigs, them lashes, that makeup, scrubbing ourselves clean and letting them wounds surface. You got to feel the pain to work through it. You have to. And you got to name it to change it. If you don't name anger, how can you change it? If you don't name depression, how can you change it? If you don't name toxicity and dysfunction, how could you ever change it? If you keep saying, a lot of y'all grew up with people, with women that you hated, but you became the same woman. You couldn't wait to move out your motherfucking mama house, your granny house, your auntie. You couldn't wait to leave these women behind, but you became these women. Make it make sense. Now your kids can't wait to leave your ass. Mm-hmm. Because if anything, we all know what it felt like being a helpless child, realizing when I grow up, I want to change this. When I grow up, I want to do this different. When I have a voice and to say so, I want to do this. A lot of y'all, so in this cycle of the tapping and dancing and performing for your white counterparts in your life, that you come home and you have nothing left. You've been performing all day. So when you come home, you're showing your true self instead of really getting the coaching, getting the therapy that you need to help you to transform and become a better person all around. Not just for your workplace, for your family. Because that's what matters most. The people in which you're producing from your household. Why you can't perform for them? Why you can't just come home and give them one more smile? Another smile. You've been smiling all day. You've been performing all day for these white folks at your workplace. You come home, take the wig off, you screaming and yelling and that. Nobody want to hear that shit. Mama, shut your ass up. That's why your kids, they start coming at you like that. Like, God, they never know you nice. Your kids don't know your real personality. But that man call you up, Mr. Such and Such, you transforming. They don't really know. They don't have people, when you ask them about their mama, they be like, my mama was mean. I don't think. I know my mom can be. You don't piss her off. Don't piss anybody off. Everybody have their limits. But mean is never a word that I would equate to my mother. Rude, disrespectful, angry. I would never think about, that's not my mom. The only qualities I can think of is just positive. You know, she's a ball of energy, a light to many people, a mother figure to so many, a great person, well-rounded person. Everybody can't describe mama like that. You know what I'm saying? People can't describe big mama like that no more. You talk about the grace of men. Women used to be graceful. Women used to be classy. Women used to be helpful. Now I ain't cooking for nobody. I come from a family of women who will cook for the whole block. Everybody getting the plate, man, woman, and child. No person left behind. So I come from humility. I come from hospitality. I come from honesty. I come from transparency. I come from honor. I come from kindness, compassion. You know, I come from people that care.
Dignity.
So for me to kind of see this world unfolding in front of me of like, you go to the store and the kids is not behaving. Everybody's so angry. You look around, everybody on their phones. There's no human connection. It's really sad to people that grew up with so much connection, so much being bonded with so much good people. It's sad for us. You know, you do feel like your heart bleed a little bit. Like this is what it's come to. You know, we can't even get together to have anything. You know, if it's not nothing that y'all deem important, family not important to y'all. You know, it's not really that important. The benefits of children is more important than family to y'all, and that's sad.
Yeah, that's why they'll talk about having a kid. They don't even talk about having a family.
Absolutely.
They'll talk about I can't wait to have my baby, but they don't even talk about I want to meet a man someday that I can have a family with. You know, they don't even think of it.
And then y'all always want to say, "Oh, but them too." Okay, let's talk about them too. Latin women and men, Latino women and men, they're training their daughters to be wives, to be traditional. They're training that, and you know, you be like, "Oh, Mexican men take good care of their women," but the women take good care of their men. It's a two-way street. Let's not forget that piece. Ain't no Mexican man just going breaking his back for Maria. Ain't no beans and rice ready when he get home. His house gonna be clean when he comes. Stop playing with him. Abdul not taking care of Fatima without that goat cooked. Stop playing with me. You know what I mean? I don't know how the Asian dynamic work, but I'm sure it's gonna be some ramen noodles even if she working full time. I'm just saying, you know, it's gonna be something. It's not just a man is not just gonna give his all and do his all for no woman that ain't doing shit for him, and that's just what it is. So stop trying to romanticize your life based on women that actually put in the work with their men. Stop romanticizing your life based on women, real women who are actually putting in that work with their men. This is not just about a wedding. This is about a marriage. Everybody preparing for the wedding. Everybody's preparing for that viral moment and that viral proposal and that ring that they could be like, yeah, fiance, I'm a fiance. Everybody preparing themselves for that moment. But how long is the marriage lasting? Because y'all go in debt, being in debt for the wedding. $50,000. You know you didn't have it. When that nigga proposed, you knew. Y'all ain't had that kind of money. But her childhood dream, you know, of everybody want a white dress. Everybody want to be married. Oh, Cinderella Disney. I get it. But his childhood dream is also being respected and taken care of too. It's a two-way street. What about his childhood dream of having a woman that respects me, having children that love me, not a bitch nagging, not kids that don't listen because their mama don't listen. Let's be real. Let's be clear. What's our agenda as a family? There is no agenda. The agenda is I'm laying with you. Hopefully we have this baby, nigga, because I need that $900, $1,000, $1,200 a month. Simple. What I heard so many women say, it's easier with just me and my kids. Literally, you ain't got to cook for no nigga. You don't got to check in with no nigga. That's easier. It's easier to be with you and your children unprotected every night. You know, a lot of single moms, y'all so into the stepfather trend. You don't even know that men be preying on y'all. They be preying on y'all. They see your daughters, and you don't recognize that everything he about to do for you is because your daughter is a sacrificial lamb or your son.
And you know what? A lot of those women that end up in those situations where their children are being preyed on, they're choosing the same kind of men that preyed on them when their mothers didn't protect them.
Absolutely. We always talk about how everybody say that. Don't wear your clothes so long. The men. Make sure you dress okay, you know, because the men. Like making you feel like it's a man. Like when people describe men to me, like in this, I'll choose the bear. Damn. You gonna get sharded with one swipe over choosing to be in that space with a man?
And eating
like, why you choose the man? Because I might get, SA'd. What? Everywhere I go, unless we lock eyes, ain't no man worried about me and ain't no man worried about y'all. They're not worried about you. Let's be clear. Nope. You're gonna choose the bear, but you go to a singles event and no man is there, but you're gonna choose the bear? You go to a singles event and no man want to be there. They rather go to watch the game with their homies, then see what the possibility of what it could be. But you're choosing the bear. Seems like you're the bear, my friend. Look in the mirror. A lot of y'all the bears. Because what they make it seem like is men are these wild animals with fangs and blood and foam dripping from the mouth, ready to attack. But in turn, that's how a lot of us are as Black women. We just look pretty. We just dress it up nice. Our claws are just painted. You know what I mean?
It's projection. It's big projection all day. And
So
it's
nasty.
it is because like the friction that of the unhealthy competition that women have with each other is usually centered over competing for the worst men to get pregnant by.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not trying to demonize y'all. You show the face of the devil yourself. I'm only bringing to attention what you guys post every day. I'm only bringing to attention what you say every day. It's always an issue, especially on TikTok has it really bad. Facebook has it really bad, where a lot of women, Black women, congregate in the comments. They congregate under the stories, and they validate the person that posted it. You ain't wrong, sis. Them kids bad as hell. I can't be a gentle parent because they say I can't be a gentle parent because my children aren't gentle children. No, you're just not a gentle person. That's why it's not working. Because you can't say, put that down, please. Put that down, please. Put it the fuck down. And think that's not gonna help. Like, what do you mean? Children don't learn that way.
No.
They don't learn that way. You got to tell them damn near a million times before they get it. And guess what? Once they learn that skill, you got to do it a million times for the next. That's parenting. If you don't like it, don't be one. But to put it on your children and say they're not gentle children, they're emulating you. When their dad say, hey, what's for dinner? Hey, girl, what's for dinner? Hey, I heard you, nigga. That's what your kid is hearing. Like, come on, that's what they see. The bickering, the nastiness, being bowed to your partner, even because some dude, they do try to make their families work. But the way in which you women emasculate your man in front of your children, they don't even respect their daddies. They think dad is just the ATM. They think daddy is just Santa Claus, and when daddy comes around, he's supposed to be buying gifts and all this stuff. They think the bond is supposed to be Magic Mountain, and the bond's supposed to be bowling and golfing, and daddy got to always spend when he come around. When I spend time with my dad, he's always spending. They think they start to equate that to fatherhood. So the man that come and take his kids to the park, he's not a good dad. This is about building bonds and connections. This is not about finances, but Black women will deduce Black men to a check, and they'll deduce their Black child to a check, a payday, a payout. It's not right. And when we harbor all these insecurities, when we harbor all this anger, like I said, from childhood, this is before you lay with anybody. This is before you even had went through your own puberty. We're talking about childhood wounds. The wounds that you refuse to, you think that you, just because you're making good money, or you think just because that you're more successful than your mom, or these are wounds that you refuse to acknowledge. That's why they keep bleeding into every aspect of your life, with your children, with your man, with other women, especially. Just because you make money now and you came from poverty, just because you got a dog in the house or the apartment that's envied by all, that don't mean that make you a good person. That don't mean that you're successful. Are you mentally successful? Are you spiritually successful? Are you emotionally successful? That's success. Are your kids, are they good children? Are they respectful children? Do they get along well with other children? That's success. Are you and your man good? Can you guys work through anything you go through? Can you guys talk to each other with respect for one another and love for one another? That's success in the Black family. Y'all don't have it. You're not as successful as you think you are, half of you. Because if you don't even care in a split second, if you can make the decision between taking somebody's life and taking them from their children, taking yourself from your children, and they don't even have a dad that can step up, you're not as sane as you think you are, my love. You're not.
That was a great look. That was the sermon that we didn't know we needed.
Man.
Hey, look, your passion cannot be understated at all about this topic, and I always look forward to having you on the platform, and because you do your homework, you do your homework, and you make it all make sense, and it goes from casual conversation to to real opportunities for people to reparent each other, reparent themselves, right? Because there's some things that your parents just couldn't teach you, couldn't expose you to, because they weren't living a certain type of life. But that's not an excuse to keep recycling, low level learner behavior either. You
Right.
know, I always said, man, there's too many people that have studied us for us not to pay attention to the study also.
Come on now. Come on.
And
Facts.
long before we were literate enough to read and write, we had to be literate with reading and reading people's behaviors and how they treat
Yeah,
us. Because you teach people how to talk to you by what you accept. And
absolutely.
if people keep accepting uh, low tier, dangerous mistreatment, there's nothing else that they become literate in but the same thing. So
Right.
you have to really, really hate yourself to hurt other people. So you got a lot
Absolutely.
of people with children that don't like themselves that are raising children with lower self-esteem in themselves.
Come on now. Facts. Facts.
So, if you're in a constant friction point with somebody else, and even if you turn yourself away from that conflict and thinking that you can compartmentalize, the energy ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you get off the phone in an irritating conversation, the way that you handle your conversations after that, if you don't put enough distance in between that negativity and the next conversation you have, is not going to you could say the right answer, you could do the performance, but the feeling of it can't be denied.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's why I know that the friction that I see on social media is definitely stemming from um, conversations that have yet to be had, that need to be
Right.
had. There's a lot of unresolved friction from where a parent didn't protect them, and
Absolutely.
in turn, it's showing up in other areas of their life, and but they've been living on a diet of pride and ego, and it's not feelings like eating bowls of lettuce. You know what I'm saying, back to back,
Absolutely.
and trying to wash it down with celery and thinking that this is gonna fill you up, and no
Mm,
substance.
absolutely.
It looks good, it sounds good, it sounds healthy, but you still need the nutrients, and
Absolutely.
sometimes you have to eat things that don't taste good because they're good for you.
Right.
So
Facts.
this that's what all of this is about, man. So, man, I, I
Absolutely.
I know you had another topic that we wanted to discuss on the next platform, on the next discussion, because I know we didn't get a chance to get back on camera last couple weeks, but man, I know we're gonna have a lot of topics to learn from, and this is gonna be very valuable. And I just
Absolutely.
want to say, I greatly appreciate the work that you
Thank you.
put in. And I'm glad you bring that over here with the same energy and passion. Anything else you want to say to the audience before we get ready to shut it down?
Yeah, you if you need the help, hit us up. Black women, I definitely can help. I come from a family of a lot of distress. I come from a family of a lot of dysfunction. I love them dearly. I really do. I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for them. But also, I understand the facts that um, children need to feel safe. Children need to feel safe. And I have two of the dopest parents out. However, my experiences, just in the care of women, in the care of women, um, you have to be the right woman. You have to be able to protect children. You got to have discernment. You have to have wisdom. We talk about women's intuition, but you guys say women's intuition like it's a sixth sense, but your children are hurt every day. You know, you don't know when the children are unhappy. You don't know when your man's unhappy. It's not intuition. You can't possibly have it. If your intuition only works when you're unhappy, stop playing with me. You know what I mean? I just want you guys to really take your children serious. This is a new school year. School is starting in the next week or so across the country. Take it serious. Take your children's mental health serious. Take your own mental health serious. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Stop trying to. We have seen what strong black women are in the grave. Let's be clear. They're in the hospital right now. They have high blood pressure, mental illness. Stop playing with me. It's a myth. You don't want to be the strong black woman. You want to collaborate. You want to ask for help. It's okay. We're interdependent. We weren't born to be independent anyways. Stop feeding into that shit. The only reason the reason why so many people you look around and they have things, they building things, this is just across the culture. across their communities is because they stick that shit out together. They don't get offended easily. White man and white man have a problem, that's okay. But that money talking, they're gonna be back friends tomorrow. Black woman and black man and black man have a problem. It may be the only reason it's gonna go on and on and on is because the bitches that they dating got a problem. That it's not really between the brothers, it's between the wives, you know. Black women problems will last for years and years and generations through friends and families. Why we don't know them? Why we don't know our people over here? Why we don't know our cousins over here? Look at, like you always say, look at the problem is poly woman. So do your work. Stop playing. If you want to be different from mama, big mama, auntie them, you have to. You might get, exiled from the family, but that's okay. You don't want your children to be around that anyways. You don't want them to grow up in that anyways. If it was so miserable for you, why would you repeat the curse and let your children be around the same people that made you miserable? A lot of y'all don't want to do that. A lot of y'all don't draw those two together either. These people made me miserable, but I'm going to raise my children around these same people that made me miserable so my child can be miserable. Make it make sense. This life is only one. And when it's all said and done, your children don't get a redo. They don't get a repeat. And we can't start. We can't rewind. So yeah, your childhood may not have been perfect. It may not have been the best, but you have the power to create something better for somebody else. And I've heard a lot that you heal through your children. The good experiences that they have, it heals a part of you. Mm-hmm. So you just being a good person, you showing up fully for them, you being functional and happy, that's gonna heal your children with it, which in turn heals yourself. It's about doing the work. Going against everything you were taught, it hurts because sometimes you feel like, damn, I wasn't taught nothing. These bitches didn't teach me anything, And that's a hard pill to swallow, especially as a black woman who we're so proud of the things that we know and things that we can do and the money we can make. That's our pride and joy. So when you get down to the nitty gritty of like common sense and like emotions, you realize, damn, fuck the money. These bitches didn't teach me anything. I'm angry. I have 100,000 in my account and I'm still angry. I'm mad. I can't stand my team. That's how they sound. Like, I don't care how pretty. You're mad because your language is foul. And the way you show up is foul. I don't care. I'm telling you, I have some of the most drop dead gorgeous relatives, friends, bombshells. But the way in which you present yourself, you're nasty, bitch. You're low class, bitch. I don't care. Anybody will be with you. Anybody will lay with you because you're beautiful. But you're poison. And the way in which you're going to rock them to sleep after you poison them is diabolical. And men are getting hip to that. I don't care if you're pretty. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Getting some praise from the audience right there.
Thank you, Clifton.
Yeah, feels good to hear a woman say what we can as men. That's good to say right there. What else we got? Say, I've fallen in love with her. Look at you.
I appreciate it. I was born from, like I told you, like my mom, me and her was easy. Our relationship was very easy. It's still easy. I guess the resistance I had was with my dad. But it's only because I'm a Cancer first and foremost. I don't know how much, I'm not really into astrology, but I'm very sensitive. Always been very sensitive, very emotional. The almost feeling like as a kid, because I'm around so many tough women, that damn, am I supposed to cry? Like, is this supposed to hurt me? Am I supposed to cry at this film? Am I supposed to feel? Am I supposed to be hard like them? I appreciate the fact that I could be so soft, so sensitive, so in touch with my people, because it makes me really, it makes me tell the truth. My dad used to challenge me mentally all the time. Like, I really appreciate my dad so much because he made me realize, like, one of his favorite quotes, you get more with sugar than shit, be nice. It's the same thing you say, be nice. Because when I told my dad, like, Daddy, I have an attitude, and my dad don't want to hear, he got 4 daughters, a wife, and going with that shit, But when you come, like, in peace, like Dad, you work with, I knew I could break my daddy pockets, I could break my dad down being a kind daughter. This is who I want to be. This is who I want to show up with. As my mom, seeing her get away with my dad, never acting out for it though. Being a wife, even if my dad, he the big dog. Anybody who know my dad know that he gonna talk his shit. That's my father, Yeah. But seeing my mom let him, letting him shine in that, and no, I don't know, like using her womanhood, using her femininity to get her way. That's what I learned. Like, okay, you don't have to be, even though I'm seeing these other women in my life castrate them, but I see the man's not happy though. He looks sad though. He looked defeated though. He's coming home later and later though. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing that dynamic, but seeing my home, like my parents, that reminded me of Martin and Gina. It was just always the good vibes, always really good love. My dad hugging my mom midday, kissing her, slapping her ass. Like that's the kind of stuff I needed to see as a kid. Like, okay, this is love, And then clowning their kids and being there for us, things like that. But also not testing my dad, like Not testing my dad. Thank you so much, Clifton, for tuning in.
Yeah, for sure.
Not testing them and really, even in my anger or even in my emotions. That's why I always say feelings are not facts. Because in my emotions, knowing, okay, he's saying this because he really wants the best for you. Your daddy never gonna steer you wrong. I know you mad, but you got to get out your feelings. So now everything is thank you, daddy. I love you. I appreciate. I respect you. I try to always honor my dad, not just for Father's Day, not just for his birthday, every day. Because I wouldn't. The person you see. Queen Smoke wouldn't possibly exist without Andre Petaway. You know, just want to shout out to him because she wouldn't. She wouldn't. The woman that you know that's logical, the woman that you know that can see things for what they are, that comes strictly from my father. Simple. Letting me know, get out the emotion. You got to speak up. You got to talk. And ain't nobody going to read your mind. I learned that from a little girl. So by the time I was 17, 16, the emotions was in check, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I can get angry. I get triggered like the next person. I'm angry. People know when I'm mad. But the way that I don't explode. So I think it's kind of more fruitful. Like, oh, shit, she mad. Like, straighten up, you know? Even my nieces and nephews. Oh, auntie mad. Straighten that shit up. It's not going to be explosive. It's more so disappointment. Like, dang, I let her down. It's not. Yeah. I'm not going to go crazy on you. I'm not going to attack you. I'm going to let you know I'm disappointed. And that word disappointment, it makes you, when you're fully aware of things and you discernment, you have the wisdom, it makes you don't want to disappoint anybody. You don't want to disappoint nobody that you love in your life. Not your man, not your children. Not your friends, not your sisters. You don't want to disappoint nobody in your life. But when you don't have no shame and nobody have called you out on that and nobody has taught you that there's consequences to your action, whether you can't go out for 2 weeks, whether give me that motherfucking cell phone, that's my dad for everything, give me that cell phone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that the way in which you show up in this world is consequences for that. Before the correction officer come, before you go to prison, there's consequences before that. That starts with the dad because mama gonna let you slide. Mama gonna let you do what you want. Your daddy gonna say, hey, not in my house. And that's what a lot of women can't. They never had that. So that it feels like, nigga, what? You know what I mean? It feels disrespectful almost. How dare you? I'm grown like you grown, nigga. How are you gonna tell me? What do you mean? But when I get paid though, you the first hand I see. You know what I mean? Like you respect my finances, but you don't respect my provision and you don't respect my protection. And that's the problem with a lot of black relationships why they don't last. And we could say that for another day.
Yeah, you know that, man. Look, you've been on it as expected. You know what I'm saying? I that's your requirement.
Yes.
When you come over here and what you add to the platform is just echoes what men have already been discussing. You know, and I know it's difficult for women that fit the behavior that you're describing to take men seriously when they haven't seen their mom take a man seriously.
Absolutely.
Or their own fathers don't take their mothers seriously for the same behavior that you're describing. And then, like you said, the no contact part. That happens after those daughters that have that experience with their mother without the father around, they say, man, that's exactly why my dad wasn't here.
Right.
And they question their existence and how they came into the world. And then by that time, they've already had kids since they was teens.
Absolutely.
By the wrong guys. And then the cycle is already in full swing. And now you got
a lot of women. I just wanted to add before we get off, you know, that a lot of women they'll say like, oh, tell black men to step up as fathers, you know, they have. And then they'll be like, oh, the same black men that's talking about single mothers, you created them. But the part that y'all don't want to understand is that you made your household so vile and so nasty to live in. It's almost like he was getting poisoned. He had to leave for fresh air, you know? And don't nobody want to leave their kids in that situation. But it's like for daddy to be able to be a part of their life, I gotta leave. So a lot of black men did try to make a family. But when you're programmed to not respect anything they say, when you're programmed not to respect anything but their finances, it's not gonna work. So how many men have to subject themselves just to be around their kid? How many black men that kids say, but my daddy did raise me, my daddy gave me whatever I want. Those black men are your daddy sacrificed his life for you. You guys don't even see it. You don't even respect that man. He been with your nappy-headed, raggedy-ass mama all your life so that he could be a part of your life, and you don't even respect him. Your mama don't respect him. But if he would have left and saved himself, then you would have hated him. You don't like him now. So it's a big cycle. It's a big cycle in our community. The dads that stay, they give no love. They get no love, no respect. The mama never respected. Your daughters have this false sense of reality of like, my daddy gave me everything. Why can't you? Baby, I'm not your daddy. If you're not bending over, you're not getting anything from me. You know, if you're not my wife, you're not getting anything from me. But it's a harsh reality to a lot of these women that have dads. You weren't raised by the type, the right prototype of father. That's the thing.
And before we get out of here, I want to say thank you to the audience for
Yes.
tuning in, staying engaged. I like to thank your audience as well that came over to, comment. They always show up and they add value too. One of the things I want to capture before we get out of here is that there's only a select group of men that make kids with this select group of women.
Right.
You can't, and I like to count out the men that you cannot blame. Not lead with blame, but we have to do the process of elimination. Can't be mad at the men that married and raised their kids underneath the roof with the wife that they married.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get to blame those guys. You don't get to blame the 50-something% of men that don't have children at all.
Right.
You don't get to blame the single fathers that take care of their kids that produce a better product than the single mothers. So
Right.
the remaining percentage of men that fit this demographic is about 16%.
Mm-hmm.
And they reproduce with 80% of women.
Right.
So we're talking about 5-to-1 ratio there and
Mm-hmm.
about. And then out of the 80% of women, almost 59% of them have 2 or more kids with the same type of man.
Right.
That's y'all issue.
Right.
So that's the hard reality that you have to accept. You know what I'm saying? Stop making babies with the wrong men before you make a sandwich for the right.
Absolutely.
And that's where, you know what I'm saying, that's where the train has to end, literally.
Absolutely.
So we will see you guys on the next one. All right, folks. Appreciate you sticking with me to the end. This has been another episode of Beyond the Algorithm. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Go get the book. And most importantly, I will see you beyond the algorithm. That's where life actually happens.